Welcome to Derby 60. If the Dockers end today with an L, there's going to be a massive X put next to Freo's finals chances and the coaching aspirations of Justin Longmuir. Today, in front of an Eagles home crowd, the Dockers simply have to find a way to get it done. It's no Roman holiday when you're 0-2. Neither team, particularly Fremantle, can afford to continue to be winless in 2025. Good to have you with us. Clint Wilden in commentary alongside Mitch Turner. Welcome, Mitch.
Great to be here, Clint. Another derby, and given what we saw at the start of last season, the recent history between these two sides, nothing is off the table. I'm ready for seeing who comes out on top and who takes their first points from the West.
There are late changes. They're both in purple. O'Meara, who was outstanding last week, is out through illness, and Wagner misses out with calf awareness. So 3 changes in total for the Dockers, with Walker already, we knew, missing with that shoulder injury. So there is a debut to Isaiah Dudley. Looking forward to seeing all 168 centimetres of him in action. And Aish and Warner are the players who come in for the Dockers. For the West Coast Eagles, Graham returns and Williams gets his first game of season 2025. Hall and Petrocelli, the 2 omissions from the West Coast Eagles side. Along with 3 premierships, our experts today have 20 derby matches between them. Round 21, 2006, Glendenning Allen medalist Peter Bell sits alongside a 3-time derby winner in Sharad Wellingham. Welcome, gentlemen. What do we expect?
Afternoon. Great to be here and looking forward to derby number 60. And I really believe, Sharad, that this is going to be a close match. I'm really interested to see how West Coast recover from the oppressive conditions last week in Brisbane. You jump on a long flight after really humid conditions. It has to take a bit out of you. We have all heard reports that a number of players were a little bit ill earlier in the week and not feeling their best. I think it potentially could be a factor today in this match.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. They're going to be really drained. They're going to be sapped. Recovery would have been quite top of the priority list during the week, which probably takes a bit away from their ability to train at a really high intensity. But in terms of like the bigger picture, I don't think we really envisaged this when we saw the schedule come out, that it'd be 0-0 in terms of wins coming into the game. But yeah, I think it's going to be a tight one today, as they always are in the derby.
Oscar Allen and Alex Pearce out there for the toss of the coin. Alex Pearce is the away side today for the Dockers. He has won the toss. Fremantle will kick to the left of our broadcast position, the Graham Farmer Freeway end of the Eagles to the right, the city end of the ground.
It's a bit cooler than we expected. What's it like downstairs? Bridget Lacey on the boundary for us today. Bridge.
Yes, thanks, Clint. Perfect conditions. It's hovering around the 30-degree mark, but there has been a bit of cloud cover come over the stadium in the last sort of half an hour, which has cooled things down considerably. Not as oppressive as what both teams played in last week. Anyway, the starting benches for both teams, for West Coast, Owies, Graham, Cole, Williams, and as you mentioned, the tactical sub for West Coast is Elijah Hewitt, and for Fremantle, Warner, Erasmus, Banfield, Dudley, and the tactical sub today is James Aish for the Dockers.
Huge game, it always is, but there's a little bit more at stake this afternoon as the teams head to their respective positions to start Derby 60. The Dockers in their white away uniform, the Eagles in the traditional blue with the gold wings. Here's Mitch Turner to get us started.
Umpire holds the ball aloft for Derby 60. Bailey Williams for the Eagles, Luke Jackson for the Dockers. Crowd pauses. The ball is bounced. We're underway in Derby 60. Williams goes up for the Eagles. Got the tap down. Stolen, though, by Sarong for Fremantle. High kick towards right half forward. Going back with courage was Duggan. He took the mark, but a free kick was paid. It's going to the Dockers.
It was a push in the back paid. I'm not sure if it was against McGovern.
Patrick Voss, the recipient, kicks it inside the forward 50 for the Dockers. It bounces off the chest of Tracy. Edwards came through for West Coast, couldn't win it. Baker could, took it, handballed it straight to O'Driscoll, the Dockers. And Fremantle get the first goal of Derby 60. And it's off the back of a miscued handball by one of their big recruits. Baker gave it straight to O'Driscoll at the top of the goal square. He pops it through, easy as you like. The Dockers kick the first, less than a minute into the opening term.
Well, it's a great start for Fremantle, nice and efficient going inside, getting into a dangerous spot. There's someone down behind play. I think it might be Tracy. But it might have been a bit of friendly fire from a high five.
I reckon it's a high five gone wrong, the old finger in the eye.
I believe so.
Well, it was a panic handball from Liam Baker. He probably had his view obstructed of Nathan O'Driscoll, who pounced on the errant handball. Great start, Fremantle. Not sure there was much in that free kick to Voss either, by the way.
12th man would have been delighted. You can't go throwing around high fives willy-nilly. Yes, exactly. Tracy makes his way off the ground. We'll get an update with Bridget Lacey in just a moment. Always dangerous.
Very, very painful, those ones. Jinby opposed to Amos out of the goal square. So that's Bustleton v Dunsborough.
By the way, speaking of dangerous, Bailey Banfield's just made his way onto the ground in game 100. We pause for a moment. Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner in commentary. Bailey Williams wins it down for the Eagles. Bounce back to him. Hand passed up in the air. Socked forward cleverly by Kelly. O'Driscoll tries to put his body over it. Sarong gathers it. Tackled by Kelly. Hand pass out the back to Chapman. Hand pass was too quick for Brayshaw. Turned over. Long worked it on to Cripps. Kicked into traffic. Ricocheted back to Kelly. Had it for the Eagles. Lost it. Jackson was able to gather. Gave it to Clark for Fremantle. Sweeping hand pass to the commentary wing. Banfield pauses for a moment to O'Driscoll. Down low. Did well to gather. Gave it back to Clark. Wonderful smother from Baker. Ricochets back to Dewar. Handing it forward Edwards. Eagles have it now again through Baker. Kicks down the commentary wing.
Pearce was there to meet it for the Dockers, immediately tackled by Allen. Coming into length support is Chapman. He's wrapped up. Strong tackle by Cripps, taken to ground. The umpire says he'll have it.
Poor handball, Banfield. No pressure, had to do better.
Ball tossed up. Jackson tapped it down to Brayshaw for the Dockers. Got the handball away as he was going to ground. Got it to Banfield. To the run of Jackson coming past. Good follow-up from the big man. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Jinby in front. Couldn't take the mark. Coming through Bolton for the Dockers. Little loose handball looking to get it outside attacking 50. Jinby was there to cut it off for the Eagles. His handball, though, too hot for Kelly. Picked off by Bolton. Handball inside looking for its teammate, the Eagles. Able to win it back, and Long can clear it out to the wing. Looking for Cripps. Was he held? No. Looked like he may have had the jersey tugged as it went over his head. They have. Gee, it was a late call. He had his jersey tugged from behind by the Fremantle defender, and Cripps has won the free kick. Just below our commentary position on the broadcast side of the ground.
Dockers with the opening goal. They're one straight 6. Eagles yet to score. 3.5 minutes gone in the first. Cripps for West Coast. Towards right half forward at the back of a line of 4. Jackson takes the mark, not quite. Loses it across the boundary line. It'll be spun in by the umpire.
Tackle pressure really high from both sides so far. Nice intense start to sit Derby 60.
And I reckon Josh Tracy will be okay from that eye poke.
Thrown back in. Bailey Williams in front of Jackson. Won it down. Reed for the Harley direction, tried to shovel it out, came eventually to Sarong, kicks the Dockers into the middle of the ground, and a good mark going back. Hoff, who continues to impress, had it defensively for West Coast, flares it out to Dewar, just shy of the commentary wing, right beneath our broadcast box here at Perth Stadium. Goes on a run and takes a bounce, puts West Coast towards right half forward. Umpires spotted a free kick coming the way of the West Coast Eagles. Going the direction of Williams.
Just undisciplined and unnecessary from Pat Voss.
Williams seems like he likes his chances. Is he selling everybody in here?
Billy, does it look like Johnson's potentially going to Reed here pretty closely, or is that just a matchup?
In the meantime, though, here comes Williams. Bailey J is going to go long, but it's not going to have the accuracy. Has it been kept in play? It has by Pearce, I reckon. That's dangerous. It's spilled down. Gathered by Brockman in the left forward pocket, who snaps a goal for West Coast. The ball looked like it was going to sail through. Instead, it was knocked back into play. Not sure who got the final touch, but it's worked okay for West Coast as Brockman's been able to snap through there first. Actually, it was Archer Reed who's got the touch on it. He was the player. So well done by Reed of West Coast to keep it in play. It allows Brockman to snap the goal. We're level at 1 goal apiece, 6 minutes into the first.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that Johnson-Reed matchup. Probably just matchups at this stage, not a hard tag.
That has gone extremely close to registering as behind. Come back in, and Brockman just in a really dangerous spot, reading the flight of the ball. front and centre perfectly over the left shoulder.
Bridget Lacey downstairs quickly.
Yeah, Josh Tracy's been in the hands of the doctors since he came down. He still doesn't look happy with that right eye, but expect him to come back on the ground shortly.
Williams and Jackson go at it again in the middle. Williams got the tap down. Jackson again follows up. It's a handball back to Bolton. Out wide for Sarong. The Dockers go forward again. Sarong's kick inside the forward 50. Never favoured any of his teammates. Straight into the hands of Tom Cole. Spreads it wide. Just beyond left half back to Jeremy McGovern. A couple of premiership teammates from back in 2018. A couple of the older heads in this Eagles side. McGovern kicks it up the wing, looking for Williams, the target. Punched away from him by Jackson. It spills to Jimby. Quick kick, tries to hug the boundary line on the southern side of the ground, and it goes out of bounds on the full. They bring it back. They bring it back. He
might have run out of bounds, I reckon, yeah.
So, saved by the ball drop on that occasion, Ruben Jimby. Just ran out of room before he got the kick away. So instead, the umpire will march it back. We'll have the ball spun back into play. Southern side of the ground, slightly favouring the Dockers' end. 1 goal apiece so far. 2 rucks. Back wrestling once more. Williams taps it down for the Eagles. Jimby tapped it towards Hoff, and pretty much where they started. The ball goes out of bounds for another boundary throw. In 7 minutes played, first term, 1 straight 6 apiece here in Derby 60 for ABC Sport.
Patrick Voss, by the way, player responsible for the missed high five that got Tracy in the eye. As Bailey Williams wins it down for the Eagles. Went to Jinby. Kicks down the southern wing. Going to ground was Allen. He bounces up quickly. He'll chase it to the boundary line. The ball takes a tumble to the left and goes across for a throw in left half forward for West Coast.
Well, so far, Voss has given away an undisciplined free kick that ends up in a West Coast goal and poked the best Fremantle forward in the eye. So the game can only get better for Pat Voss.
Ball spun into play. Jackson and Williams. Williams with the fingertip touch. Down to Duggan for the Eagles. Here's Kelly. Kicks around the body. Up into the air it goes. Will land about 51 out from goal. Fine mark taken by Clark. Up for the Dockers at right half back. He trots back inside his defensive 50. Nothing doing on short.
Had 10 intercepts last week against Sydney. Jordan Clark, and that was a beauty.
Clark will kick back towards the southern wing. Big pack up on the logo. That is a fine fly from Voss.
You heard me.
So he's starting to get on the right side of the ledger for his team. He stands just shy of the logo. Wants to send the Dockers towards right half forward. Kick will go into the right forward pocket. Had a bit on it. Flying up Edwards from the side. Couldn't mark. Jindy picks it up for the Eagles. Came to McGovern. Clearing kick beyond defensive 50. He's been able to spot Williams, who marks it left half back. Scores 1 straight 6 apiece in Derby 60. 9 gone in the first.
Spears a short kick to Baker. Further up the wing. It's the 9-minute mark hits in the first term. The kick up the wing from Baker, no good. Goes out of bounds on the full. As I do look around, I do observe at the 9-minute mark a campaign that was pushed on social media by Eagles fans. There are some fans flipping the bird in solidarity with Harley Reid.
The bird is the word here.
Bird
at
is
Perth
the
Stadium.
word. It's the kick up the wing from Fremantle, rolls out of bounds. They've been paid insufficient intent for a genuine missed target.
I think it was just Nathan O'Driscoll's skill error.
Well, the Eagles win the ball back. Baker has the free kick, goes on to Duggan, kick up towards left half forward, over the back of the pack. Crushing through was Draper for the Dockers, comes out the back to Cripps. This is Jamie Cripps, tucked in the left forward pocket. Couldn't track it in before the ball went out of bounds. It's a boundary thrown inside the Eagles attacking 50.
Did you control yourself, Sharrod, at the back of the box as a West Coast player?
No, I gave it.
There was some gesticulations in the back of the box.
He's waiting for the 12-minute mark. Sharrod, his former Eagles number. So the ball's spun back in off the hands of the 2 rucks. Kelly roved it for the Eagles, was tackled. Got a kick away, though, and managed to find Owies in the middle of the 50, who marks on the chest and will go back from about 40 metres out, directly in front.
I've seen Carl Warner do this in the game against Geelong. He's sagging 4 or 5 metres off his opponent, trying to get back and create a concertina for the defenders deeper in the square, but the ball's 30 metres out. So just be up on your opponent and don't leave him any space.
Potentially relying on Sharp to come down, but they were just too far off him.
Was a goal kicker at Carlton, Matthew Owies, playing in his first derby. He gets his first derby goal. The Eagles in front. 2 straight 12. The Dockers 1 straight 6. 11 minutes gone in the first term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Bridget Lacey, before we hear from our experts, downstairs.
Yeah, as Matt always was lining up for that one, Josh Tracy made his way back onto the ground for Pat Voss, funnily enough, and they managed to avoid any incident on the way back. And Isaiah Dudley is also onto the ground for his first run in AFL football after Shea Bolton made his way to the bench. So it'll be interesting to see how the South Australian goes.
So out of a forward 50 stoppage, Warner's sort of sagging back towards the goal square, leaving his direct opponent 30 metres out directly in front of goal. But he's not going to impact any kind of aerial contest at all, Warner. So just get up on your man.
Not a great bounce. Umpire should bring it back. He will. Almost went at 45-degree angle.
Nice bit of play by Tim Kelly, by the way. The clearance.
To get it on the boot.
Jackson got the fingertip down in the direction of Brayshaw. Spun in a tackle. Got a hand pass out. Went to 360. Gave it out to Brayshaw. Moved it to Erasmus. Kicked towards right half forward for Fremantle. Murphy Reid gathered. Tackled by Cole to the ground. Here is Dudley emerging with it. Kicks inside forward 50. Scooped up by Tracy. Hands it off. And the run and shot on goal is absolutely magnificent. Johnson kicks it from right in front. Hit it at pace. Did not miss for the Dockers. We're level again. 2 straight 12. 12 and a bit minutes gone in the opening term.
And well done to the player making his debut. Dudley, who got a bit of a quick kick out of congestion. Jackson involved, Erasmus involved, Brayshaw initially as well. And
was it Tracy on that ground ball coming out?
Tracy, good ground ball. And I love this from Johnson. Take your ground really quickly. A real burst of speed as well. Got himself into a good position to have his shot at goal.
Josh Tracy back on the field and showing no ill effects from the willy-nilly high five. Great finish from Matthew Johnson. Back in the middle right now, standing opposed to Harley Reid. Archer Reid's in the ruck for the Eagles. He wins the tap against Jackson, gets it towards Jack Graham, who spun in a tackle, trying to get it to Baker. Couldn't get it there cleanly. Brayshaw v Reid in the middle. Reid just barrels through O'Driscoll, who came in to lend support. He catches him high. O'Driscoll will win the free kick for Fremantle. At left half back, he goes all the way across his defensive 50. The mark is spilled on the sliding attempt by Sharp. It's taken by Liam Ryan. Little dribble on the outside of the boot. Rolls it through. Arms outstretched to the crowd. And the Eagles hit back immediately. Liam Ryan, back into the side last week, was terrific against the Lions, and he finds himself on the scoreboard early in Derby 60. 3 straight 18, the Eagles. 2 straight 12, the Dockers. 6-point margin, 14 minutes played. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Sharad Wellingham and Peter Bell, our 2 experts.
Sharp will be absolutely ruining that dropped mark. Easy chest mark. It admittedly was sliding in on the ground, but you've just got to take that, wrap it up, especially on a switch, and got a dangerous pressure forward like Liam Ryan coming at you. Doesn't need many chances, and he's taken that one very nicely.
Well, he was excellent last week with 3 goals against Brisbane, and that was sublime skills from Ryan.
Eagles by 6 points. About halfway through the opening term. Archer Reid wins it down for West Coast. Taken then under real pressure by Brayshaw. Tackled, emerging with it. Harley Reid bursts away. Runs to centre half forward, kicks into the left forward pocket. Ball travels over a pack, comes to Pearce. Ugly kick along the ground. Erasmus did well. Hoovers it up and then hands it off. Chance for Draper. Kicks the Dockers towards the southern wing. Waiting for it, Frederick. Couldn't mark under pressure. Was able to go and gather it a second time. Kicks inside forward 50. McGovern sliding through. Bounced off his chest. Marrick kicks to no one in particular. In space in the right back pocket. Cripps could get there first. Tackled by O'Driscoll. Hands it in the direction of Marrick. He couldn't gather. Brayshaw can. Gives it off to Murphy Reid, who hits the right-hand goalpost. I thought it was curling enough from the left forward pocket. Not quite enough. A minor score. Dockers 2-1-13. Eagles 3 straight 18. 15 and a half gone in the first.
Great running capacity there from Nathan O'Driscoll. Put the heat on Jamie Cripps.
Duggan, kick-out duties for West Coast. Short to the pocket. Finds McGovern. Just backtracks. Harley Reid gets a little applause as he comes to the bench. Tim Kelly replacing him. McGovern with ball in hand. Goes by foot down the wing. And Jack Williams able to get clear and take the mark. Quick little switch inboard to Noah Long. Runs into the centre square. Now lowers the eyes. Tries to dart one towards half forward. And Brockman getting back there was Ryan. He dropped it for the Dockers. Ball in congestion at left half forward for the Eagles. Erasmus comes through. Free kick spotted. Archer Reid copped one high in amongst all the chaos. The Eagles youngster will go back and looks like he's backing himself to take the set shot. Man of the mark stands about 46 out.
To be honest, I didn't even really see. Oh, yeah, Archer's just head down looking for the footy and Clark come in a little bit careless there, wasn't it?
He might be third on the list of the most hyped reads on the field, Archer. Kicking from 55 metres out. Archer Reid sends it on its way. It's off hands. It's short. It hasn't gone through. Kept in play by Owies. Handball inboard. Gets it to Graham. Kick on goal. Hits the right up post. They trade right-hand posters to both sides. Minor score 2-1-13 the Dockers. 3-1-19 now. The Eagles 17 gone and Derby 60.
That's Mitch Turner. Clint Wilden with you in commentary. Our experts Sharad Wellingham and Peter Bell. Premiership players, Derby experience everywhere in the ABC Sport Box today. Kick is beyond defensive 50 by the Dockers to right half back, and Draper's able to mark. He can go short to Ryan if he wants.
Would have liked to have seen Draper just run then. I think that's where Fremantle can go quicker. They were out.
Draper kicks towards the commentary wing, and well done to Clark in a battle against Hunt. Wins it for the Dockers, takes the mark. Hard up against the boundary on true centre wing, southern side of Perth Stadium. He'll kick it long. Into the right forward pocket it'll go. Flying Edwards, crashed the pack, couldn't take the mark, spills out to Banfield. Game 100, gives it to Giant Amos. Back to the dangerous Bailey Banfield. He'll look to wheel around and kick it straight down the throat of Cripps, who drops the mark at full-back but had plenty of time for the Eagles to go beyond defensive 50. Chapman should have marked it, despite the pressure coming from Owies. Had time to gather again. Kicks back to the teeth of goal for the Dockers. Archer Reid up. He drops the mark. Jimby's there to mop up for West Coast. Gives it to Hunt, who goes on a long run and then gets the kick away in the direction of centre wing out of side.
Ryan was out of position, but he managed to gather the ball out the back of the pack. Nothing to go to. Up ahead, he's one-on-one. Trying to get away from Clark. He slipped, got it across to Owies, who goes down. Now he lays on top. Brayshaw on top of him. It's Brockman, in fact. Both in the blue boots today, and Brayshaw just laid on top. No attempt to get rid of it. An easy decision for the umpire, holding the ball. Liam Ryan was almost away. Just couldn't get away from Jordan Clark. The Dockers win it back. Goes down the wing, does Brayshaw. Voss dropped the mark. Murphy Reid did the roving. Got it back to Voss. Now Sarong trying to gather. Running the wrong way down the southern wing. Eventually gathers, turns. Kicks up towards Sharp, who can't take the mark. Going back with the flight. Had Marrick for company. It's off hands, out of bounds. About 55 metres around from the Dockers' goal. Not sure what the PA was trying to tell everyone there. What I can tell you, though, is the Eagles lead by 6 points. Almost 20 played in the first. Voss doing the ruck work for the Dockers. Tapped it, couldn't find a teammate, so went and got it himself. His handball, though, straight to Hunt of the Eagles. He's harassed by Murphy Reid. They've turned it over. Sarong feeds the handball backwards to Clark. Tucks it under the arm. Takes some grass. Kicks it inside the forward 50 over the head of Banfield and Marrick. Ball bobbling around inside the Eagles' defensive 50, and Marrick gathers. Gives it to Owies, who releases Cole.
Cole from centre half back. Hands in the direction of Kelly. Tackled immediately by Clark, who takes him to ground.
Excellent come forward defence there from Fremantle. You see that West Coast really want to bounce out of their D50.
Well, up the call. Archer Reid palms it down. Bidwell to Long. Another way to Graham now to Kelly. Sweeping hand pass to Owies. Runs the 51 out. Hand pass in the direction of Allen. Knocked down by Warner. Getting back there defensively. Taps it in the direction of the boundary line. He's happy enough to take it over as Owies lays a tackle. Good defensive work then by Freo, because if it had gone to Allen, he was running straight in on goal.
It was really good defensive kind of just positioning and made him second guess. His numbers around the ball, no real clear target forward.
Eagles by 6 into time on in the first term. ABC Sport from Derby 60. Erasmus tries to bring it away from the restart. Got tackled. It came out the side to Brayshaw, then to Warner. Moves it into the left back pocket for the Dockers. This is Sarong. Lovely pass. Just chiselled it straight in the direction of Josh Tracy. Back in defence. Back on the ground. No problems after getting the poke in the eye. Early stages of the game. Kicks towards commentary wing. Jimmy got a fist to it, spills the ground. Baker for the Eagles tries to gather against Johnson, couldn't. Tracy coming the other way, picks it up, shares it with Amos. Back to Tracy for the Dockers. Now on to Murphy Reid, sweeping hand pass forward. Here's Bolton, takes a bounce, runs the 50 out, kicks inside the goal square, and Dudley on debut takes the mark for Freo.
We'll take a bow, Josh Tracy. He drove at the game. Fremantle had numbers where the ball were, so he brought the ball inboard through a chain of handballs, and then Bolton.
The smallest man in AFL football kicks his first goal on debut. Dudley delights. Isaiah Dudley, he draws the scores level with his first goal in footy. 3-1-19 apiece between the Dockers and the Eagles in Derby 60. 22 gone in the first.
You're bang on there, Belly. Tracy's ability to recognise the numbers all around him, take the game on through hands instead of blazing forward, because it was one-on-ones ahead, but we've seen today in the one-on-ones a lot of them are coming to ground, and so the work rate from the Dockers around the ball then was perfect.
And what a great moment, and we'll give Fremantle a little fillip there when a player kicks his first goal in AFL football. Well done, Shea Bolton. It was a lovely kick to his mate.
And great story with Dudley coming through Central Districts, picked up in the SSP this year. Good bloodlines. Cousin of Cozzy Pickett, the nephew of Eddie Betts. He's got all the skills, as we're seeing early on.
Not bad for a player if he can put together all of those bloodlines. He'll probably kick a few more if history shows. Ball back in the middle. In front of Voss was Williams. He tapped it down for the Eagles. It came, though, to Bolton on hands and knees of Freo. Got it to Sarong. His little chip forward was looking for Brayshaw. Met by Cole. Throws it away under pressure. Free kick to the Dockers.
Andy Brayshaw's had some really good pressure moments in this contest so far. Renowned for that.
He's won the free kick in the middle of the ground, and
it's a 50 against Noah Long. He just ran through the protected area. Jordan Clark sold him a pup, and he shouldn't have been there. So
Brayshaw had the ball about 2 metres forward of the centre circle. Long ran straight past him, and the 50-metre penalty will bring him to about 35 metres out from goal.
It's the rules, but it had no bearing on what Andy Brayshaw was doing whatsoever, really. But
Zero
you're not
impact.
supposed to be there. It's cruel.
Just the one goal so far this season for Andrew Brayshaw. To give the Dockers the lead. Brayshaw does that, but not in the way they wanted. It's a minor score. Fremantle edge ahead by 1. 3-2-20 the Dockers. 3-1-19 the Eagles. 24 minutes gone in the first term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Mitch Turner alongside Clint Wilden.
So McGovern in the bright sunshine at the Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium to the left of our broadcast box with the kicking duties high and long towards right half back. It's off hands, down in the direction of Banfield. Might have been held without it. Umpire says play on. Ball slapped back into traffic. Harley Reid tries to soccer it forward. Taken out of there by Ryan. Somebody get it off to Sarong. Kicks inside forward 50, and McGovern behind Bolton takes the defensive mark for the Eagles. Ooh, dangerous kick across half back. Dewar's done well to get there, though his hand pass was awry. Pressure came from Brayshaw. Cole was able to knock it away. Here's Brockman. Chance to gather it. Does so at left half back. Got it onto Cole. His hand pass wasn't great. Warner coming the other way. Gets it for the Dockers. Kicks across half forward. Chance to get it to Erasmus. Here's Dudley again. Looking for his second on debut. Oh my goodness me. What a start. Back-to-back goals by this young man. 21 years of age from Central District, kicked 21 goals in 20 games last year for them. He's given the Dockers a lead of 7 points, 4-3-26 to the Eagles, 3-1-19, 25 and a half gone in the first. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
Yeah, Sharad Wellingham did comment earlier on whether Matt Johnson has the role on Harley Reid. Just noticed that when Harley Reid came to the bench, so did Matt Johnson, and when Harley Reid went back on, so did Matt Johnson. So it was certainly one to keep an eye on. And with Dudley, As soon as he kicked that,
Yeah.
he turned away. He knew he'd kicked the foot. He knew he'd kicked the goal. That's a quality forward for you, isn't it, guys?
I think he started celebrating before it hit his foot.
He's got to kick 2 more in about 2 minutes if he wants to catch Murphy Reid. He's running out of time. Back-to-back goals for Isaiah Dudley on debut. Ball up in the middle of the ground. Jackson v. Williams. Neither could win it. Williams tried to follow it up. It was taken by Sarong. He gave it, though, straight to Dewar. His kick smothered. Here is Matthew Johnson. Has ball in hand on this occasion. Looping handball over the top to Brayshaw. Through the middle of Perth Stadium. Kicks it over the head of Bolton and Hoff. First back there is McGovern for West Coast. Composed. Was able to find Hoff by hand. Runs his 15 metres. Now kicks up to the wing and Chapman. Out points at Owies, takes the mark for the Dockers. It's a dangerous switch across right half forward. Was it good enough, though, to find Jeremy Sharp, who takes the mark and might fancy himself here. Jeremy Sharp. Tyrell Dewar is on the mark and he stands right on the paint.
Well, distance will be no problem for Sharp. He veers out to his right generally and gets that sort of kick across the body action.
Still on a rookie contract is Jeremy Sharp, despite playing 23 games last year. Set shot from outside 50 against the jeers of the West Coast fans. Sharp unloads from 55 and it's away to the right. He did have the journey, didn't have the accuracy. 4-3-27 the Dockers, 3-1-19 the Eagles. 8-point margin, late stages of the first term. Clint Wilden.
Jinby drives a low flat kick, 45 degrees out in the direction of Jeremy McGovern, who's marked and is unsure where to go next. He's told to move it on. We'll head towards the commentary wing. Kick is up into the air. It might have too much on it. It does. It's gone across the boundary line on the full. Free kick to be taken here by Jackson, who actually marked it as it crossed the line. 8-point lead to Fremantle. 28 minutes gone in the first. The Derby 60. Jackson for the Dockers. Sends it back inside forward 50. Big pack up. Off hands. Down to Bolton. Gets it to Banfield. Measures the kick towards left full forward. That's well worked. And Voss marks for Fremantle. Hard up against the boundary. Left full forward. He'll put boots of ball from about 20 out.
And I love that from Bolton. He's been really unselfish in this first quarter. He set up Dudley for a goal. It was just first hands, good hands to Banfield, who was arcing on his left.
Boss takes a deep breath and then a second. A metre in from the boundary, left forward pocket. He's missed. I was about to say he's missed the lot. He's just crept it in for a minor score. 4-4-28 the Dockers, 3-1-19 the Eagles, 28 gone in the first. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
It's hard to fathom with these glorious blue skies, but we did just get a couple of drops of rain, so one to watch.
If anyone can find rain, it's Bridget Lacey on the boundary. Hopefully it stays dry, Bridget. Marriott comes out to the wing. Flying high was Harley Reid, 3 deep. Couldn't take the mark. It was so far back. The ball's knocked out of bounds. It's been paid insufficient intent.
The umpire called play on. The play was out of bounds.
So the Dockers win the free kick. Nathan O'Driscoll
He's gone off his line.
He barely went off his line, did he? That's a weird...
Very strange.
20 seconds of umpiring by all rounds. So Nathan O'Driscoll got called off his line, was standing 1.5 metres out of bounds. Once you change direction once, that's you done. So instead, ball will be tossed in right in the middle of the broadcast swing. Sarong trying to get clear, couldn't. Eventually got a handball, though, to O'Driscoll. Low chiselling pass, was looking for Bolton. Was a little offline, and McGovern was there to pounce and take the intercept mark low down on his chest. And switch the ball back into the middle of his defensive 50 to Ryan Marrick.
Marrick is forced to go towards left half back. Edwards marks, steps around Tracy. And kick in the direction of left half forward. Well weighted kick. Good mark too from Kelly. Running with the flight of the football. Dragged it in with both hands. He's 60 from goal. Will put it towards the teeth of goal. Jackson floating back. Has enough of it to take the mark. Lost it in the end. It came out of his hands. Reid was there. Free kick's been paid though to Ryan, who went to ground behind them.
Hold against Reid.
Yep. Reid putting the right arm and then dragging down the back of his jumper. So Ryan beyond defensive 50 for the Dockers. McGovern punches it down. O'Driscoll broke a tackle for the Dockers again at left half back to Frederick. Runs away from Bailey Williams. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Marked here by Banfield. will turn quickly, sending it inside forward 50. Amos marks. Uncontested. 45 out from goal. He'll start in line with the right hand behind post.
Well, it was really strong bodywork from O'Driscoll, first of all, and then Frederick at the game, took his ground.
That step just opened up the whole corridor, didn't it? And the ability to then find Banfield. For mine, he actually turned the wrong way.
Yeah, I agree.
For Bailey, but ended up putting it out nicely in front of who we got lining up?
Amos.
Shai Amos. Looking in his 50th game for what would be a second goal of the season. Kicks on its way. Goal umpire doesn't have to move. Those in purple at Perth Stadium rejoice. They kicked their 5th in the opening term. 5-4-34 to 3-1-19. Jai Amos has a goal in game 50. His 83rd of his career. The Dockers lead is 15 points, 32 minutes gone in the first.
So that's the game style that I think can be really effective for Fremantle if they can employ that more frequently, because it's exciting and it gets the defenders, offside. Whereas when they try and be a little bit too cute and too slow, it just doesn't work for them. Take the game on and have confidence in that tactic.
And watching that back, Jack Graham would be disappointed with the broken tackles.
Yeah, on O'Driscoll.
On O'Driscoll, that's where the goal started, really. It was a poor missed tackle.
I was just about to ask you, that's pretty unusual for Jack Graham. One of the better tacklers around the league during his time at the top level. Back in the middle, Jackson tapped it down straight to Kelly, though, of the Eagles. His handball on the bounce to Hunt, ran into trouble, tries to get it to Baker, has to feed back by hand to Dewar, tries to go back to Baker, still in the middle of the ground. He's dispossessed. It's stolen by Bolton, running forward, handball to Frederick, inside 50, tackled well, taken to ground, somehow got a handball away. Outside attacking 50, Brayshaw was pulled off it by Jack Graham, who goes back in on hands and knees. Did well to get it to Dewar. His handball chopped off again, though. Knocked down by Bolton. To Sarong. They run out of time, the Dockers. They were hunting the Eagles to finish that quarter. They do manage to take a lead. 5-4-34 Fremantle. 3-1-19. The margin is 15 points at the first break.
If you follow rugby league at all, that tackle by McGovern is like a fullback with one of the big winners just running at him. He's wrapped up Frederick, and in the end, because of what it caused, that's a goal-saving tackle just then by McGovern. It was absolutely top-notch.
Perfectly, wasn't it?
Sensational bit of play under real pressure. 5-4-34 to 3-1-19. The Dockers over the Eagles in Derby 60. The goal kickers look like this. Dudley on debut's got 2 for Freo, and singles to Amos, to O'Driscoll and to Johnson. While for the West Coast Eagles, their 3 goals, Liam Ryan, Tyler Brockman and Matt Owies. Quarter time, Freo by 15 points in Derby 60 earlier today. If you missed it, Adelaide by 36 over North Melbourne. And wherever you are on ABC Radio, Sport Digital Radio, News Radio, and streaming on the ABC Listen app, this is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Get your footy fix on the ABC Listen app.
Right as an arrow!
AFL, NRL, men's, women's, to listen anywhere you want. Yes! Every goal, try, mark and tackle.
Bingo!
Live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Patrick Voss, the recipient, kicks it inside the forward 50 for the Dockers. It bounces off the chest of Tracy. Edwards came through for West Coast, couldn't win it. Baker could, took it, handballed it straight to O'Driscoll. The Dockers and Fremantle get the first goal of Derby 60.
Here comes Williams. Bailey J. He's going to go long, but it's not going to have the accuracy. It's been kept in play. It has by Pearce, I reckon. That's dangerous. It's spilled down. Gathered by Brockman in the left forward pocket, who snaps a goal for West Coast.
Ball spun back in off the hands of the 2 rucks. Kelly roved it for the Eagles, was tackled. Got a kick away, though, and managed to find Owies in the middle of the 50, who marks on the chest and will go back from about 40 metres out, directly in front. There's a goal kicker at Carlton, Matthew Owies, playing in his first derby. He gets his first derby goal. O'Driscoll will win the free kick for Fremantle. Left half back, he goes all the way across his defensive 50. The mark is spilled on the sliding attempt by Sharp. It's taken by Liam Ryan. Little dribble on the outside of the boot. Rolls it through. Arms outstretched to the crowd. And the Eagles hit back immediately.
Here's Bolton, takes a bounce, runs the 50 out, kicks inside the goal square, and Dudley the mark for Freo. The smallest man in AFL football kicks his first goal on debut. Dudley delights. Cole, his hand pass wasn't great. Warner coming the other way. Gets it for the Dockers. Kicks across half forward. Chance to get it to Erasmus. Here's Dudley again. Looking for his second on debut. Oh my goodness me. What a start. Back-to-back goals by this young man.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
He's certainly got something about him, the 21-year-old Isaiah Dudley, and his team has the lead at quarter time. They're up by 15 points over the West Coast Eagles. Fremantle in front. Quarter time in Derby 60. Let's get the thoughts of our experts, both of them with Derby experience. Peter Bell and Sharad Wellingham.
Well, it's been an entertaining game, Sharad, very open. And I suppose at times there's been some horrendous turnovers from both sides that have resulted in scores. And Fremantle would be pretty happy with the way the game looks. They're up in contested possessions, they're up in clearance, and they're up in scores from turnovers. I think they were plus 15 for that quarter.
Yeah, I think the start of the game definitely had a higher level of intensity, but it felt like it was a lot of turnover, and if it didn't turn over, it was efficient. So that kind of sounds like it's a little bit of an oxymoron type thing, but when it went in there and they were able to retain it in both ends of their forward 50s, if they actually got their hands on the ball, they were scoring a goal. But if they weren't, it was going all the way to the other end, wasn't it? It was a game of back and forth for the first half of that quarter.
And just the continuation of what we saw between Fremantle and Sydney last week, where the two sort of midfield groups slug it out contest after contest, but eventually you can break free and you've broken the other team and you're actually in a lot of space. And then it is about execution, how you execute your skills to give yourself a chance of scoring.
And that's where I think Fremantle really took the advantage to the back end of that quarter. Once they got numbers and were able to win the contest, they were able to use numbers around the ball and get more efficient inside field forward 50.
They did. They looked really dangerous with that drive corridor. We saw a couple of kicks go in there, also a couple of running patterns where instead of taking the easier option, I guess, and to turn towards boundary, they drove out the game and drove corridor, and that's where they looked really threatening.
West Coast, I thought it was going to be a real area of concern was the clearances, but they've managed to stay with them. I know Fremantle are winning, but they'd probably look at that at the moment. It's 11-7 in the way of Freo. I feel like Freo can probably take it up another notch in their midfield and put the West Coast midfield to the sword.
Yeah, it's a crucial part of the game, clearly. Fremantle just with their noses in front, but they have looked dangerous at times. Luke Jackson's looked dangerous. Andy Brayshaw's involved. Caleb Sarong as well. So we'll see how West Coast can respond.
Some of the team's stats, the disposals, Fremantle 90, the Eagles 80. The contested possessions, the Dockers ahead in that category as well, 39-32. The inside 50 count, 21-7. Fremantle's way. The clearances, as mentioned by Sharad Wellingham, 11-7. Fremantle's way as well. The tackle count, 12-11. The Dockers also lead that category. Individually, no surprise, Caleb Sarong has 12 disposals, leads all comers on the ground. Nathan O'Driscoll has 8 for the Dockers. Shea Bolton and Andrew Brayshaw with 7 apiece. For the Eagles, Jeremy McGovern has 8 disposals. Baker and Kelly have 7. Tyrell Dewar continuing his nice little breakout form with 6 of his own. Clint Wilden.
Recapping for those who joined us a little late, Derby debuts everywhere today. Of course, Isaiah Dudley's grabbed the early headlines with his 2 goals, but for Fremantle, Shea Bolton, Patrick Voss, Murphy Reid also having their Derby debuts. While for West Coast, their coach, of course, first time for Andrew McQualter in a Derby, Liam Baker, Matt Owies, Jack Graham, Archer Reid and Tyrell Dewar. The first experience of a Derby in the West. 5-4-34. Fremantle lead West Coast 3-1-19. Of course, the 2 late changes for Fremantle. Jager O'Meara out with illness. And Corey Wagner out with calf awareness. An injury omission for him. No late changes for West Coast. They haven't had to make either substitution so far. Elijah Hewitt, the sub for the Eagles. Fremantle's James Aish, who came in alongside Warner for those 2 late changes. James Aish, the sub for the Fremantle Dockers. Just 2 Glendinning Allen medalists out there for this game of current winners. Sarong, who's won it 3 times previous. Chance to equal Paul Hazelby, who has a record 4 in these games. And Tim Kelly, the West Coast Eagles, has had 1 as well. So Sarong with 3, Kelly with 1 on opposite sides, of course, So much focus on Caleb Sarong, just watching him on the screens around the stadium right now. For Fremantle to win, he's going to have, you would think, some sort of impact today. The Dockers hold a 15-point lead. Second half about to get underway. Blue skies above us. Warm day. We're underway in the second term. Jackson went. Williams got it. Kick was smothered. Graham couldn't gather. Reid could of the Harley variety. And he's taken to ground by Johnson and Jackson. They'll ball it up again. Just forward of the centre circles here for West Coast. Jackson had 2 goes at it. Tries to go after the football. Baker got in the way. Gathered it up. Hand passed out for Dewar. Kicks around the body of Erasmus as he tried to close him down. Puts West Coast out of bounds on the full. He was heading inside the right forward pocket, but the kick went awry. It'll be a free kick to be taken here by Warner of the Dockers. Stabs it short to Brayshaw, not far enough to be a mark. Has to move it on very quickly. Sends it high up in the air towards left half back. Johnson flew, couldn't mark it. Graham over the top, tried to tap it out the side. Still Williams is there, eventually emerges with it. Bailey Williams kicks up into the air to the right forward pocket. Flying Pearce, third man in that marking contest, floated across the front and took offensive mark for the Fremantle Dockers. He's got it in the left back pocket.
Looking into that sunshine. Good afternoon here in Perth. Pearce goes out to the southern wing, flying from behind, taking a strong mark.
Free kick,
Jackson.
Williams. It'll go to Williams.
It's Peter Bell spotted. There's a free kick to Williams, so pushed in the back. I think it was Jackson that was the defending player. He came from a long way back, but Bailey Williams has the ball for the Eagles, sends it into the right forward pocket. Cox flies for the Dockers, takes the mark.
His first touch of the game, Brendan Cox, been very quiet, opposed to Archer Reid there.
The other is Oscar Allen, the Eagles co-captain, has not touched the ball yet.
That was a shorter kick than the last one.
It was paid on this occasion. Erasmus took the mark in the left back pocket, decides to play on, kicks once again out to the southern side. Jackson flies high, knocked away by Williams from behind, and Reid then tackles Jackson as he gathered it. Incorrect disposal, says the umpire, and Harley Reid will have the ball on the wing, goes inboard more centrally to Harry Edwards, who tries to handball it back to Reid, missed him. Good little tap by Dudley of the Dockers, got it to Tracy, on to Brayshaw, inside forward 50 to Amos, who had a mountain of space. He thought about playing on. He took one step, and maybe the umpire said, "That's your pivot foot. You're okay."
He had a thought about it.
He pulled it back. It didn't go. Set shot. About almost a 45-degree angle to the left, about 35 out.
Well, he's absolutely been gifted one here, being able to get out the back off that horrid turnover from, was it Edwards?
Pivot foot? That's what
pivot foot? No, that was a step. He went.
It was an absolute step.
It was a Dom Sheed step from the 2018 Grand Final for some. Amos comes in, looking for goal number 2, and he pulls it horribly to the right. He misses everything. No score, no change to the score. The Eagles will still have a 15-point deficit as Marrick goes out to right half back to Hoff.
Footy gods having a say as Hoff couldn't get it to Duggan. Chance here for Erasmus, giving it Sarong for the Dockers. His kick was intercepted. Another chance here. Hoff hand passes it on. Well, that was interesting. It came to Graham, gave it to Marrick. Kick was straight to Hoff, not far enough to be a mark. Eventually worked it on to Graham. Then to Cripps. Cripps looks to move it on. Comes to Brockman. Now to Liam Ryan. And he's got it at right half forward. They went surging down the outer wing. The kick is into the right forward pocket. And Archer Reid marks. He's got it for the Eagles. He'll be putting boot to ball from 45 out, but he's hard up against or right near the boundary in the right forward pocket.
That was good play from West Coast off the back of some poor skill errors from both sides. I want to just quickly take you back to Andy Brayshaw's kick to Amos. It was a really poor kick. It was a floater. It was all over the place. Just kick it out in front of Amos and he's running into an open goal. Yeah. That is what people talk about with Fremantle leaving easy goals out there. But nice play from West Coast in counter-attack.
Here's Archer Reid looking for his first goal still in AFL football. Kick's not too bad, but it's missed. It's across the face. Missing to the left-hand side. Minor score. 3-2-20 West Coast. 5-4-34 the Dockers. 4.5 gone in the second term.
Ryan, no one stands the mark from the kick out, so plays on, goes straight down the middle of the ground. Was able to find Dudley, who, for a little man, stood up under pressure, took the mark, swings it By foot out to the southern wing. O'Driscoll marks, rolls,
And
kicks it out in front of Clark. He missed the target, as heard Peter Bell saying. Ryan was able to gather it for the Eagles. His handball, though, inboard to Duggan, gave him absolutely no chance. Was slammed to ground, and now the Eagles have given it back. Brayshaw off to Sarong. Into the pocket, Voss. Beautiful use of the body. One-on-one with the 5-time All-Australian Jeremy McGovern. Voss stood tall, took the mark, but this is the part that has let him down the past fortnight.
Well, he gets shots at goals, Pat Voss. He's going to go and kick this one directly at the goals because his last one around the corner was really poorly executed. Great pressure from Fremantle, but they do make it hard for themselves.
He was wayward last week. He's had one crack already today. Sometimes you just need to see one go through. Patrick Voss. We can hear by the lack of reaction, he misses. So still yet to see one go through the major opening. Couple of cracks and he misses everything. 5-5-35, the Dockers 3-2-20. The Eagles 15-point margin. Mitch Turner here for ABC Sport alongside Clint Wheeldon.
Glenn Baker, dual premiership play with the Tigers. First year as an Eagle. The kick in to Marrick, who marks in the left back pocket. Oh, he's kicked into the man on the mark. Tracy won it down. Bolton's out after it. Eventually gathers his hand pass, intercepted though by Baker. Mops up his own mistake. Hand passes to Reed. Harley runs and then hands it off again. Kick by Hunt towards left half forward. And then he turns it over. The Eagles at 4-0 forward. Stopped by Alex Pearce. He marks it right half back for the Dockers. So Pearce for Fremantle. Their captain kicks back towards centre wing. Commentary side. Bailey Williams flew at it. Ball comes off hands. Tracy surrounded by Eagles. Got a hand pass out to Murphy. Reed pops a hand pass over the top. This is Jackson. Jackson chiseled it into the right forward pocket. Great play, McGovern diving in front of Amos. Wonderful spoil. And he sees it across the boundary line for a throw-in. 51 out from the Dockers goal. Kicking to the city end of Perth Stadium in this term. Clint Wheeldon alongside Mitch Turner in commentary. Our experts, premiership players, Peter Bell and Sharad Wellingham.
Jackson in the ruck opposed to Williams. Got to the front, tapped it down to O'Driscoll. Kick inside the 50 is marked by Tracy. It wasn't a pretty kick. It was a quick one out of the pack, and Tracy had front position, took the mark. Will have a chance for a set shot for goal number 1 today. 30 metres out, slide angle.
It's a really tough one as a defender there, isn't it, Belly? Because he's playing in a reasonably good spot there, Edwards, but that dropping ball from... who kicked that in? O'Driscoll.
Yeah.
O'Driscoll slams it on quickly and it's just dropping right in front of Tracy.
Amos missed. Voss missed. Tracy shows him how it's done. Straight through the middle for Josh Tracy. He has his first. And finally, almost 8 minutes into the second term, we have a goal in this quarter. Fremantle have their 6. 6-5-41. The Eagles, they're 3-2-20. It's a 21-point margin. Our experts here alongside myself and Clint Wheeldon.
No, I take that back. He wasn't in a great position. He hadn't worked back hard enough. Tracy was actually doing a great job up here at the contest on the boundary. His ability to work and get forward of the stoppage is obviously incredible. And you got Edwards, who's 5 metres off him, just slowly getting back to him. No urgency. Drops right into his chest.
And a problem at the stoppage as well. O'Driscoll all by himself. Jackson with a lovely tap down to him, but O'Driscoll needed more pressure.
He was very happy, though. Patrick Voss was on the bench. Didn't have to worry about copping a high five in the eye that time, Josh Tracy. So he's okay, and he's still out there after the poke in the eye from his teammate early on. Jackson won it down. Brayshaw got it back to Bolton. Here come the Dockers again. Bolton shares it with Jackson. Hand pass from Bolton to Caleb Sarong. Back to Brayshaw. Brayshaw will kick it deep inside forward 50. Little nudge on the side of Tracy's okay. Good body work from Edwards allows Marrick to mark. And he'll go short into the left back pocket to McGovern. Walks back into the shadows of the stands here. City end of the ground over his shoulder. He'll kick to find Duggan, who stands up despite the attention of O'Driscoll and takes the mark at left half back for West Coast.
A couple of strong grabs for Duggan today. One very early in the match.
Glances inboard Duggan. He'll get told to move it on. He'll do so by kicking towards the commentary wing. Pearce comes in. Jackson flies. Goes up and takes a mark. No touch according to the umpire. It's good enough to move it on quickly. Gets it onto Brayshaw. Plays by hand to Chapman. Kicks back towards full forward. Off hands, Murphy Reid. Gave it off to Erasmus. Kicks around the body. It's not accurate. He misses left. A minor score. 6-5-42. Freo. 3-2-20 the Eagles. 10 minutes gone in the second term. ABC Sports coverage of Sunday footy on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and News Radio.
Should have trusted himself and kept going, Luke. It was the right idea, and that was another wasted opportunity for Fremantle. Should be in the book.
Well, he took the step, the umpire did call play on, so the former basketballer in Luke Jackson doesn't know the pivot foot. Clearly, the Eagles bring the ball back into the pocket to Hunt. Plays on, kicks it up the wing. Flying from behind was Allen, but in front, Draper.
Alex Pearce has lost a boot.
He's an orthotic.
And he's orthotic, yeah.
Yep.
Good spot.
He's had to pick up off the ground and put back in the boot as he stands behind Josh Draper on the logo of centre wing. Kicks it high, inside forward 50. Big pack flies, mostly Eagles. It comes down. Cole did the roving, got it to Dewar. Under pressure, did well to get it to a teammate in Kelly. Tumbling kick into the middle of the ground. It bounces over the head of Williams. Cox took it. He was put under pressure. Now he's coughed it up. The Eagles win it back. Graham taps it to Allen. Snaps inside the forward 50. It's a bouncing ball. Race is on between Cripps and Clark. Clark too quick. He got to Cripps. Put him under pressure and the ball rolls out of bounds for a boundary throw in deep inside the 50. Maybe 10 years ago, Jamie would have had him. Not today.
Well, Jordan Clark, he's one of the quickest players in the AFL.
In the bright sunshine, Farmer Freeway into the ground. Boundary umpire unfurls. One down by the Eagles. It came to Kelly. Threw it on the boot. Hoping for maybe a little bit more. It's tumbled across the boundary line for a throw-in. Right full forward for West Coast.
Bolton on Hoff, the only two players in Fremantle's half of the ground. Well, now it's just Bolton, actually, as Hoff wanders further up to the contest.
Sarong leading the possession winners. He's got 15. Baker leading the way for the Eagles with 10. From the restart, no one can get a clean clearance. It's been locked in again. Oscar Allen doing the defending, tackling Bailey Banfield in game 100 to the ground. Jackson palmed it down. Brayshaw tried to steal his way through, couldn't gather. Banfield goes to ground. Came to Erasmus and then to Sarong. Threw it on the boot beyond defensive 50. That's a good mark. Eric's done really well against.
Got a long leg.
Reid.
What do you reckon, Clint?
I'd have a go if I was him.
He's a long kick.
45-degree angle. He certainly has got the carry. He's decided to just steer it into the right forward pocket to Jamie Cripps, who is on a tighter angle, but will be putting boots of ball from about 50 out.
He's not much closer, and he's on a more difficult angle. I would have probably preferred Marriage to take the ownership and have a shot.
This is a tough kick. Cripps starts with his boots on the boundary line from right on 50. Oh, the Eagles fans like it, and they rise as one. That is a great kick from Jamie Cripps. The premiership player with West Coast bringing life and hope back to this Eagles team with that. They've got their fourth West Coast, the 13-minute mark of the second. The Dockers are 6-6-42. The Eagles move to be 4-2-26, cutting the Dockers' lead to 16 points.
Marriage obviously had a lot more faith in Jamie Cripps than I did.
He struck it beautifully.
Beautiful set shot, but a really difficult one. Pretty much out on the boundary at 50. Great set shot from Jamie Cripps.
He's one of 5 Eagles premiership players out there today. Funnily enough, there's 3 Richmond premiership players out there. 2 for the Eagles, 1 for the Dockers, and Richmond's not playing. So don't always see that.
313 goals. What a player he's been for a long time, Jamie Cripps.
Played more derbies than anyone else out there at the moment. 21st today for him.
He is an experienced campaigner. Got himself on the scoreboard. The Eagles have a chance to score again. They win it out of the middle. Kelly kicks it inside forward 50. Chapman for the Dockers got the fist. Straight down to Harley Reid. Turns around on a dime. Snaps from 50. Long to the goal square. Bounces on its end. Allen 1v1 with Pearce. The support comes for the Dockers. It almost fell back in his lap, but it's knocked through for a minus score. 4-3-27. The Eagles 6-6-42. The Dockers, as the kick out from defence is turned over. and Hunt was able to intercept Ryan's kick and take the mark.
Clanger from Warner it was.
It was a clanger to make the decision to play on because he was quick to grab the ball. The players and teammates weren't set up and he didn't have a clear option to go to. Didn't make it the right decision, and then to butcher the kick like that would be very annoying.
Jaden Hunt looking for back-to-back goals for West Coast. Kicks on its way. He's missed to the left-hand side. So they don't punish the Fremantle Dockers with that, the Eagles. 4-4-28 to Fremantle 6-6-42. 15 gone in the second.
Much prefer Jordan Clark to be taking the kick-ins than Carl Warner, personally.
Oh, there is a player that's gone down behind play. Jack Graham was very, very close to Caleb Sarong, who went down off the ball outside defensive 50 for the Dockers into a heap, and there was a bit of remonstration. In the end, the Dockers got a 50-metre penalty. They use it to go down the ground. Dudley has it in the middle of Perth Stadium. Dribbling kick inside forward, 50 to Frederick. Bounces around one tackle, then around two, not around the third. He's tackled, holding the ball. A bit of chaos. The Eagles win it back. Cole gathers his handball, misses Noah Long, who has to go back and get it. The umpire's blown the whistle because behind play, another Eagle went down. Brockman's getting the free kick. Graham went down as well. There's just a little bit happening off the ball. I haven't seen a replay from the Sarong incident myself, but I did spot in the foreground another West Coast player going down off the ball during this passage of play, and Tyler Brockman has won the free kick inside the centre square on the defensive edge of it. Eventually, they restart play and he comes out wide to the broadcast swing and McGovern takes the mark.
Whew. One thing we know, being a West Coast home game, you won't see it on the big screens, Mitch, so have a look down on the televisions around the place as McGovern goes across centre half back. Came to Edwards and then out to Cole in the right back pocket. Cole for West Coast. Kicks towards the outer side of the ground. Jack Williams flew, couldn't mark. Spilled down here for Graham. He'll wheel around. Kicks towards right half forward. Big fly. Archer Reid was deciding to fist at the footy. Was able to get a hand to it, punching it away and over the boundary line for a throw-in.
I reckon Jack Williams got separation on Josh Draper with some contact as well.
Yeah,
off the ball.
Elbow in the stomach by the looks.
So things are getting spicy.
Here's a derby. Expect nothing less. Back in, Archer Reid palmed it down to Banfield. Bailey Banfield shoveled it forward. Murphy Reid tackled. Harley Reid gets it for the Eagles. Goes to Long. On in turn to Dewar. Kicks West Coast into the right forward pocket. They all fly. Luke Ryan got it down, and then Liam Ryan tried to just soccer it across the face. It's come off the side of the boot and gone into the crowd. It's going to be out of bounds on the full. Fremantle Dockers will get a free kick at left full back. No change to that score. 6-6-42 the Dockers. The Eagles are 4-4-28. 18 gone in the second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Chapman kicks it outside defensive 50 for the Dockers. Big pack flies. Comes down the way of O'Driscoll for Fremantle. Able to chip the kick over the top. Going back, Frederick took the mark. Umpire eventually paid the mark and will bring it back. Murphy Reid tried to take it and play on, but as the rule states, it has to come back if the umpire calls it a mark. So we'll come all the way back to Frederick. Centre wing, southern side. Goes short to Sarong. Racking up the possessions. This is number 17 coming up. Takes his time. Eventually goes short to Warner.
Really like that play rather than just blaze away and get it in deep. Just change it up a little bit. Be patient. Set up your defence behind it.
Warner, the late inclusion. 60 from home. A lot of numbers inside his forward 50. Sets it up to the top of the square. Big pack flies off hands. Edwards for the Eagles. Was able to gather, and a hack kick outside defensive 50 falls on the chest of Pearce for the Dockers.
So Pearce decides to put it back into the centre square, marking short of the attacking edge of it for Fremantle as Clark thought about going by hand to Luke Ryan. That's ignored. It's actually the furthest man back, Clark. Kicks the Dockers towards full forward. They all fly. Pack of about 6 up. Got a hand pass out the side. Was able to get onto Cole, then to Dewar. Kicks towards the outer side of the ground. Winning it down then was Jack Williams, but stolen again here by Warner. Scooping it up, hands it to Johnson, now to Clark. Clark for Fremantle, runs into the middle of the ground and switches play. Towards the commentary wing to Sharp, who marks. Moves it on quickly to Chapman. He's at right half forward. Kicks back into full forward for the Dockers. And Tracy has taken the mark. Using some body on Edwards, which the local fans don't like, but the umpires saw nothing wrong with. And there's bewildered faces throughout the Eagles' defence. That won't change that Tracy will go back and have a shot from 30 out, 45-degree angle to the right.
Oh, the bewildering one is the tackle on McGovern off the ball.
The one behind the play. So Josh Tracy steers it through and he kicks Fremantle's 7th and he's got his 2nd. Dockers fans will be thrilled. The Eagles fans will want to have another look at that replay. 21 minutes gone in the second. The Dockers are 7-6-48 to the Eagles 4-4-28. McGovern running away to one of the umpires as if to say, hang on, what happened there? What's going on?
I don't think they
Not
want to watch the
anything out
replay.
of Jeff Dalglish.
I don't think they want to watch the replay because he's been tackled to the ground by Jai Amos.
Missed one there, the umpires, but they're allowed to make mistakes as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's painful. It was a painful build-up from Fremantle, actually. It looked really stilted and uncertain, but in the end,
They've got it to a dangerous spot, and Tracy takes it a good contested mark. What's really hurting West Coast and Fremantle are doing really well is that setup. They've got no exit and they've got nowhere to go when they do turn the ball over in their defensive 50, and they're blazing away or kicking it.
Kick out, yep.
And it's just going straight to the Fremantle setup behind the ball.
Did you see the replay from behind with Amos and... There was one of those ones where the umpires have gone, you both locked arms, I'm not getting involved.
Yeah, okay.
Well, right or wrong decision. It's in the scorebook now. Johnson, nice little bit of footwork out of the middle for the Dockers. Kicks it inside forward, 50 outnumbered. Jimby read the flight of the ball beautifully for West Coast. Took the intercept mark. His short kick, though, outside defensive 50. Set Hoffa task. Got to him on the half volley. Dockers have the numbers. They managed to tap it into space. Bolton trying to back tap it towards a teammate. Stolen by Hunt. Now to Hoff running down the wing for the Eagles. Didn't know what to do with it eventually. Gave an average handball to Baker. Forced to go back to Hoff. The Eagles under a lot of pressure. Some their own doing. Hunt eventually goes straight up towards half forward. Big pack flyers. Back of the pack, Pearce to the Dockers. Hot handball towards Luke Ryan. Tries to gather. Eventually does so. Gives it off to Cox, who goes short and finds Johnson.
Such an important kick, that ability to find a composed mark in your defensive half.
Takes it at right half back. Dangerous kick to true centre half back position. And it was a good one to Erasmus. And the Dockers get the full switch on the bounce. Warner gathers. Southern side of the ground. Runs to the logo. Kicks up towards left half forward. Flying up. Frederick. Marriott got back to effect the spoil. Tries to go back in, win, and it's knocked away by Murphy Reid. It goes out of bounds 60 metres around for a boundary throw in. One M. McGovern might have been watching that last contest with Jeremy, and they were wrestling fans growing up, and he probably thought, you did that to me a couple of times growing up, Jeremy. There's a bit of payback. Ball in 60 metres out from the Dockers goal.
Thrown in. O'Rourke got a telling tap. Trying to merge with it. Baker. It's done well. Got a kick away for West Coast towards the logo. Out of side. Jack Williams had 2 to beat. Pearce went to him, and Warner, oh my goodness, turned it over with a kick going backwards. He's found Archer Reid, who steers it inside forward 50. Oh, he should have marked. Dropped what needed to be taken. Allows Clark to pick it up. Warner beyond defensive 50 to Banfield, who was absolutely crunched into by Hoff.
This is 17v18 for skill.
Yep.
It's entertaining, but that's being honest.
Oh, it's not just missing targets, it's dropping marks. It's handballs going to teammates at their feet.
It's kicking straight to the opposition. Banfield hits a teammate this time from right half back from the free kick. He finds Luke Ryan.
Straight to the opposition.
Here's Luke Ryan for Fremantle. He finds a target. It's Johnson just behind the centre circles for the Dockers. Will flare it out towards the southern wing. Sharp allows it to bounce. Pauses for a moment. The inboard foot pass to the logo, where it finds Johnson. 20 points is Fremantle's lead. 24 gone in the second term. It's stop-start again from the Dockers, and that kick is out of bounds on the full.
By 10 metres.
Oh, my goodness. At the moment, whoever you hand the Derby trophy to, you would have to be careful they don't drop it on their foot and break their toes. That's about how we're travelling. Freo by 20 points, 24 gone in the second term.
I can guarantee if it hits their foot, it's not going to ricochet up to a teammate. You can't do that often today. Duggan, he has the ball in hand. This time, beautiful kick by the Eagles co-captain up to the wing to Hunt, who just gets it inside to Long, just past the outstretched arm of Banfield. Just backward of centre wing. Noah Long goes for a trot, kicks up towards left half forward. Cox v Archer Reid 1-on-1. Cox does well. Gets out and punches the ball over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in.
Had good position, Archer Reid. That's probably just another year or two in the gym. That's why Brennan Cox was able to affect the spoil, but he had really good position. Nice signs there from the young player.
Pushing back towards the goal square opposed to Cox is Archer Reid right now as the ball is tossed back in, 55 metres out from the Eagles' goal, over the back of Jackson and Williams. Erasmus for Freo couldn't grab it. Williams could for the Eagles. Got it to Duggan, spun around, somehow got a kick out into the path of Baker. On his left foot, kicks it towards a leading Reid, or Williams dropped the mark. That was Jack Williams coming through Owies. Couldn't gather, thought he was tripped, wanted a free kick. Demonstrating with the umpire a little bit, but it's off hands, out of bounds for a boundary throw-in, deep inside the Eagles attacking 50.
There's a lot of numbers up inside the D50 for Freo, and they're nice and high too. All the Freo forwards are pretty much inside 70.
Spun back in. Jackson palmed it down. Draper gathered, tackled by Baker. Came out to Brayshaw. Got it on again to Johnson. Tackled by Liam Ryan. Just got the kick away to O'Driscoll. Not far enough to be a mark. Handed to Chapman. Threw it on the boot. It'll go over the top of Tracy, who's been held.
He just set him up there. It was just experience from Tracy.
Edwards gives away the free kick. Tracy will have it at right half back. He's in no rush to get there because he needs his team to flood forward. Closing in on half time. Freo's lead remains 20 points, 7-6 to 4-4. Tracy, a couple of goals to his name, stabs it short to Clark, who's at right half back. Jordan Clark thought about going back inside his defensive 50, thinks the better of it. Takes a couple of steps and then will bomb it long towards right half forward. Big pack up, and that's a good mark. Edwards rising and dragging it down for the Eagles. He'll go back and make an assessment of what to do with it in the shadows of the grandstand. He's at left half back.
27 minutes gone in this third term. Edwards kicks up the wing. Kelly in front. Was able to read the flight of the ball, took the mark, stepped off his line, called to play on. Banfield coming past, knocks it out of his hands. Went back and got it, tackled by Brayshaw. Banfield just flips one up towards Jackson. Looked like a throw for all money. Umpire said play on. Reid got it back to Banfield. Now to Brayshaw. Kick and a half from home. Kicks deep inside 50. Looking for Tracy, who marks it over the back. Tight angle in the pocket. Only about 15-20 metres out. He's got to be quick. He looks like he wants to go around the corner, but the clock is winding down.
We can't. He just got to work this out, and his teammates should be telling him, and the bench should be screaming to the players. He can't kick it on his left and play on because he's run out of time.
That might be the case because he's gone back and now will kick the drop punt from a very tight angle.
He shapes it left to right usually, so that should help.
Josh Tracy for his third goal in the first half. It is a beautiful kick, and the fist pump says it all. He's some sort of player, Josh Tracy. 3 goals in the first half. An 8th for the Dockers after the halftime siren. That takes them to 8-6-54. The Eagles, they're 4-4-28. It is a 26-point margin. That's a bit of a blow to the Eagles right on the stroke of halftime.
So the goal kickers, as you heard from Mitch, Josh Tracy with 3, Isaiah Dudley with a couple, singles to Amos, to O'Driscoll and to Johnson. While for the West Coast Eagles, goals to Liam Ryan, Tyler Brockman, Jamie Cripps and Matt Owies. Fremantle, who need to win today by hook or by crook, come what may. They just have to get the 4 premiership points. They've seen a 15-point advantage at quarter time, increased to a 26-point lead at the half. The other game earlier today, Adelaide by 36 points over North Melbourne. The Crows 17-12, 114. Beat the Kangaroos 12-6, 78. At the moment, Fremantle with the upper hand in Derby 60 here on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Our experts, former Glendenning Allen medalist from 2006, Peter Bell, a 3-time Derby winner, Sharad Wellingham, your experts today on ABC Sport. Gents.
It's a bit of a strange one. I think that the dominance on the scoreboard probably isn't quite reflected in the game at the moment. I mean, it feels it's a little bit more even for mine, and it's Fremantle are just being really efficient and taking their shots when they're given them.
Even if you're right, I agree with you, Sharad. It's almost like West Coast really bad skill errors have cost them scores.
Yep.
But West Coast haven't been able to punish Fremantle for their really bad skill errors, because both teams, and maybe it was an exaggeration, but I don't think so. For a while there, it was 17th and the 18th on the ladder for skill. There's some horrendous turnovers.
I thought there must have been oil on the ball or something. Like someone's got a bit of liniment on it, but it was hard to watch. I mean, like you said, it's making it entertaining, and the pressure is still really high, isn't it? The tackle has been really good. The pressure on the ball and in the contest, there's a lot of it, and so it's an entertaining game.
And the game is very easy from where we're watching it, but yes, handballs to ground, kicks out of bounds, just basic fumbles, lack of awareness when you're under pressure as well. Some really poor stuff from both sides, and in the end, really, Sharad, in that quarter, the difference, Josh Tracy just goes bang, bang, bang for 3 goals. One of them very fortuitous to get, which should have been a free kick to West Coast. But he was the difference in that quarter in some really patchy play from both sides. But you look at the half, and 34 inside 50s for Fremantle and 17 for West Coast.
Yeah,
that's the difference in the game.
Thing, isn't it?
Yeah, with that dangerous forward.
And I think I said during the call, their inability, West Coast, to transition from their defensive 50 to get it anywhere up the ground, and Fremantle are doing a great job, led by Alex Pearce, who's doing a tremendous job on Oscar Allen, who's had zero impact on the game so far. His positioning and the work that they're able to do. I mean, Lukey Ryan's obviously a very smart player, but their ability to just take away any option for West Coast to find when exiting their defensive 50, they're looking up, nothing, and Fremantle just set up perfectly.
And even though Fremantle can overuse the handball, 176 touches of the ball compared to West Coast 154, and a lot of those are in that midfield group. You look at West Coast major ball winners besides Baker, it's Marich, McGovern, Dewar as well, a couple of defenders there, which gives you an indication of where the ball's living at the moment in this half.
Yeah, it's spending a lot of time in the D50, and they aren't able to get it out, and if they do get it outside D50, it's coming back in. And that's why we're seeing that 34 inside. Did you say it's 34 inside
17,
50? Because it's just in, out, in, isn't it?
Yep.
And the coaches, sitting in the Fremantle box will be very happy with that. They don't mind getting it inside. They like to play that territory game and get it in there, but we're locking it in there, which is what we want.
Well, they will actually sacrifice. So when Fremantle fans, myself included at times, get frustrated with the slow ball movement, it is all designed around that, almost to the point where, hey, if we can score first time in, we'll take it. But what we're really setting up for is a defence set behind the ball movement. So force pressure, force a hack kick out of forward 50, and then we'll get the ball back in when the defence is unsettled. Fremantle will want to live in their front half, which most teams want to do, but they're actually happy to sacrifice some quicker ball movement to get that, to really put the pressure on the opposition.
So that they know they can't be hurt the other way. And we know that, when they do come up against the side that is a fast transition team, they're able to, like you said, lock it in there, and they take that win.
And that's what Justin Longmuir was so disappointed at in the last few minutes of the game. He spoke about it last week against Sydney. It's about not leaving our defence exposed. We might not score, but the opposition won't either. And with those kicks last week, sorry to go back into uncomfortable territory for Fremantle fans, but they left the whole defence exposed. Skill error, mind you.
Couple of texts rolling through. Marcus, 0437 774 774. Some of the Dockers just don't have the skills of the top 8 side. Several of our forwards have never been able to kick straight ever. However, the Dockers team tonight's actually much younger than their West Coast rivals. Let's be honest, we've mentioned a few times, Marcus, the skill level has not been great today. That's a very fair comment. And Fran from Melbourne, seems to me that the Eagles supporters stand by their team no matter what. They certainly do that, West Coast. We saw that after they'd won 10 games in 3 years. First game of the season against Gold Coast, who brought 32 fans with them. 45,000 people showed up to watch them. And I would have thought maybe a quarter of the crowd today decided that at the 9-minute mark of the opening term that there would be more birds than just eagles in the stadium. You've seen it.
They're sticking tough. They're sticking tough. And I think that's in part to having had success. A team that has been as successful as West Coast has been in its short career, the fans they've got it pretty good, don't they?
They've had it very
pretty
good for a long time.
So the last 4 years, while they may have been miserable, on the most part, they've been pretty well looked after as a membership base. So, yeah, but they're sticking tough, and it's good to see. I mean, they've got faith in the club. They've obviously got faith in Minnie McQualter, who's come in, and they're not being overly demanding in performance rising, the lifting of the bar. But, yeah, I'm pretty impressed at how well they're sticking tough.
And you're looking for, with the new coach coming in, you're just looking for long periods in games where you're competitive and you can see a DNA that can be developed over time. And saw it last week against the Premiers up in really difficult conditions for almost the entire game, but probably second half, Brisbane's kicking ability and two-way run. That's right.
Humidity as well, probably.
Caught the young Eagles out, but you're just looking for long periods, and this will be a learning thing for Minnie McQualter right now. Okay, we're a few goals down at half time. It's hot again. Who's going to dig in for the club? Who's going to dig in for the emblem on the jumper? And he'll learn a lot from that, the coaching staff.
One more. Grant from Hobart asked this question. Why being a West Coast home game would the replay not be shown on the big screen? Because West Coast, as a general rule, don't play the big controversial stuff on the big screens. We've seen that for a number of years now. For a couple of reasons. How do they control that? Well, you tell whoever's in charge, Kojo, we don't want to see all the stink up on the big screens.
Really?
Yep.
Play it.
I've been on the other side of that fence with other clubs. Not West Coast or Freo, but other clubs. And I know that they say, and you can get told, we consistently at this ground, when West Coast are involved, don't see the big controversial moments on the screen.
That's bad.
No, it's not. They can do whatever they like. It's their home ground. I don't agree with it, but it's not bad. You can decide we're not going to have this. Maybe you're worried about the crowd reaction, maybe any number of things, but we never see the stink on the big screen. You might see free kicks.
I haven't noticed that.
No, I do.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I've always looked up, and I've given up after a couple of years, looked up and gone, no, you're not going to see it up there because you'll see an advertisement instead.
Haven't gone to a lot of West Coast home games in the last few years, mind you.
You have had other things to do. Fair enough. By the way, 10 points to Peter Bell's shirt today. He's got the Stone Roses.
One of the great albums of all time.
Yeah, got me through year 12, which does show my age. Let's pause here with the score. Fremantle 8-6-54 to West Coast 4-4-28. No fool's gold here. Fremantle by 26 points. Let's find out what's been happening with ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Eliza Getzi. Federal opposition leader Peter Dutton says there's a case for symbolic constitutional recognition of Indigenous Australians while leaving the door open to 3 separate referendums. Political reporter Pablo Vinales has more.
Facing questions on the election campaign trail, he again suggested he's open to a second referendum on symbolic recognition of Indigenous Australians in the Constitution. But Mr Dutton, who campaigned no in the Voice referendum, says that's unlikely to go ahead.
There will be no referendum until there's a position of bipartisanship.
The opposition leader has previously said he'd consider constitutional change on cancelling the citizenship of dual citizens as a last resort, and that he's open to a referendum on 4-year parliamentary terms, but doubts that will happen. The Prime Minister says he supports 4-year terms, but has no intention of holding another referendum.
Emergency rescue teams have begun arriving in parts of Myanmar hardest hit by the massive earthquake that's killed more than 1,600 people. But they face the challenge of buckled roads, downed bridges, patchy communications and operating in a country in the midst of a civil war. The quake's epicentre was near Mandalay, Myanmar's second largest city, where it brought down scores of buildings and damaged infrastructure, including the airport. Many of Mandalay's 1.5 million people spent last night sleeping on the streets, either left homeless by the quake or worried about continuing aftershocks. The Ukrainian military says Russian drones have struck a military hospital, a shopping centre, apartment blocks and other targets in the northeastern city of Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest. Local officials say 2 people were killed and at least 25 injured. The Ukrainian military says the attack on the military hospital joins the long list of vile and cynical crimes committed by the Russians since the invasion of Ukraine 3 years ago. And Washington's former envoy to Afghanistan says an American citizen has been released by the Taliban after being held for 2 months. Zalmay Khalilzad says Faye Hall is still in Kabul, but in the care of Qatari officials and would soon return to the United States. Ms. Hall was detained in February on charges of using a drone without authorisation. She's believed to be the 4th American released from Afghanistan since January. Back home, much of the east coast of Australia continues to battle wet and wild weather, while fires in WA continue to burn out of control. Here's Harry Buttonshaw.
Major flooding continues in southwest Queensland despite rainfall beginning to ease after nearly a week. Floodwaters in some regions are expected to continue to rise over the coming days. Large parts of New South Wales have seen similar conditions, with rain now falling most heavily along the coastline. Hazardous coast warnings have also been issued from the New South Wales-Victoria border up to Foster. In the west, around 125 kilometres north of Perth, 3 fires in and around Lancelin and Regan's Ford continue to burn. Residents north of Lancelin are being urged to leave now in a southerly direction if it's safe to do so.
A man has been found dead just north of the Victoria-New South Wales border after reportedly being hit by 2 cars. Callum Marshall has the details.
Emergency services received reports just before 5 o'clock that a man was lying on the Hume Highway in North Albury. Police were told on arrival that a man had been hit by 2 cars. The 21-year-old died at the scene and is yet to be formally identified. Police have taken 2 drivers to hospital for mandatory testing. They are a 53-year-old man and a 32-year-old woman. A section of the Hume Highway was closed for several hours this morning, but has since reopened. Police are investigating, and a report will be prepared for the coroner.
The West Australian Health Department has confirmed 3 new cases of measles and says it expects more in the coming days. The latest cases bring the total number from the current outbreak to 8. Those affected include Bunbury Hospital staff, prisoners and a returned overseas traveller. The department's senior medical advisor, Paul Effler, says the source of the outbreak hasn't yet been confirmed, but overseas introduction is likely.
We know measles doesn't circulate in Australia. We're considered measles-free generally, and so it will be an introduction that occurred from someone travelling abroad and coming back to Australia, or someone coming into Australia. That'll be the original source.
And in the NRL, Daly Cherry Evans has led his Sea Eagles to a 26-12 win over the Eels, just days after telling the club he'll be leaving at the season's end. And in the AFL, Adelaide has kept its unbeaten streak this season intact with a 36-point win over North Melbourne. The Crows kicked 17 goals, 114 to the Kangaroos, 12 goals, 678. This is ABC News.
You and I are going to share a little secret.
Find unmissable entertainment like The Newsreader, Mystery Road Origin, Mayfair Witches and so much more.
It's ambitious.
Where it's always free, always unmissable. ABC iView.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Jackson in the ruck opposed to Williams. Got to the front, tapped it down to O'Driscoll. Kick inside the 50 is marked by Tracy. Wasn't a pretty kick. It was a quick one out of the pack, and Tracy had front position, took the mark. Will have a chance for a set shot for goal number 1 today. 30 metres out sliding. Amos missed. Voss missed. Tracy shows them how it's done. Straight through the middle for Josh Tracy. He has his first.
Sarong threw it on the boot beyond defensive 50. That's a good mark. Eric's done really well against
got a long leg.
45-degree angle. He certainly has got the carry. He's decided to just steer it into the right forward pocket to Jamie Cripps, who is on a tighter angle, but will be putting boots of ball from about 50 out. Cripps starts with his boots on the boundary line from right on 50. Oh, the Eagles fans like it, and they rise as one. That is a great kick from Jamie Cripps, the premiership player with West Coast, bringing life and hope back to this Eagles team. They've got their 4th West Coast. Chapman, he's at right half forward. Kicks back into full forward for the Dockers. And Tracy has taken the mark, using some body on Edwards, which the local fans don't like, but the umpires saw nothing wrong with. And there's bewildered faces throughout the Eagles' defence. That won't change that Tracy will go back and have a shot from 30 out, 45-degree angle to the right. So Josh Tracy steers it through. Dockers fans will be thrilled. The Eagles fans will want to have another look at that replay.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Fremantle have the advantage at half-time here at Perth Stadium, 8:6:54 to West Coast 4:28. Repeating the earlier game today, the Crows made it 3 straight to start 2025 with a 36-point win over North Melbourne. Match review panel, round 3 from Saturday's games has come through. And just repeating if you've missed it from earlier, Ryan Mansell has been given a 3-match sanction for careless conduct, severe impact and high contact. Now they've put it under rough conduct as the reportable offence. So the AFL, after a couple of weeks ago, sending a memo out to clubs saying we've had enough about players pushing other players into contests after what happened to Leo O'Connell when he was shoved into the contest yesterday. He got knocked quite heavily by Tom Lynch. They decided that enough's enough. Ryan Mansell facing a 3-match ban, though the Tigers have said that they will be appealing that. Mitch Owens copped a fine for striking, intentional low and body, and Ben Miller also copped rough conduct as well. That's just a fine, $6,250 for him. In the GWS game against Hawthorn, Kieran Briggs copped a rough conduct charge against him, careless low and high for an incident with Marbior Chol. That's come back as a $3,000 sanction as well. But the one that we were most interested in, Ryan Mansell, the AFL sending out a memo a couple of weeks ago saying no more pushing into contests. That's the 5th time by my reckoning that's happened with something actually untoward occurring, be it a concussion or an injury. So Mansell's been given a 3-match ban on that front.
Just a really quick hypothetical. I wonder if we'll end up seeing 2 players suspended for 1 contest. If you push a player into a marking contest and then if Lynch actually braced or through the bumping action, if you could see 2 players suspended for 1 incident.
Do you think
could be something in the future?
Lynch was a bit careless as well?
He was a little careless. They didn't side him and look at him as you just read, the match review officer, but I wouldn't be shocked if down the track we see 2 players suspended for 1 action.
And perhaps the stricter adjudication, because Mansell could foresee what could happen if he did shove O'Connell into the contest. He was looking at the oncoming traffic.
Yeah, and that's, I don't have a problem with that, where I think it's with the whole way that duty of care, and we've seen that with the bumpers come in, that's where this is now with the push. The duty of care is if you shove somebody into this situation and they're hurt, then strict onus is on you. I'm not sure if you're in a marking contest and someone's shoved in, you can reasonably foresee what might happen there. And I don't mind the hypothetical, but I would sit
Does
until
it take
that
the onus away from Lynch, though?
I think it does a bit.
Normally it's like put your hands up, and if you brace, you're gone.
Yep.
So I wonder if there'll be a test case. Don't worry, there always is.
Yeah,
there will be.
And normally a couple of weeks after this all calms down, that test case will occur.
Well, hopefully, as far as duty of care is concerned, the players at West Coast and Fremantle have a duty of care to lift the skill level in this second half, because the contest has been absorbing. I'm really, really enjoying it, but we just want to see. And look, both teams have had tough runs in hot conditions for all of season 2025, but I feel like if Fremantle can start executing a bit better, the margin could get a bit larger.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 for endeavour and effort, about 3 out of 10 for skills.
It's 37-38 turnovers either side, which is huge.
Lee from Tassie, great to hear a call with no bias for the Eagles or Dockers. Hopefully the skill levels improve in the second half. We're trying to be biased both ways here in the West. We know how it works. Mitch Turner to get us started. Sunday footy on ABC Sport, 3rd quarter underway.
We'll start the second half how we started the first. Jackson v. Williams in the ruck. Jackson won it down for the Dockers. Williams, though, sharked it for the Eagles. Got it to Baker. His handball missed Graham. He was able to go back and gather. Run to the 50. Spear it inside onto the chest of Jack Williams, who takes the mark 15 metres out, directly in front. Should be able to go back and slot the first goal of the second half.
Well, I thought it was going to come undone when that Baker handball went to the feet of Graham, but it was a beautiful inside 50 kick and just timed that push off Cox perfectly, didn't he? Beautiful chest mark.
His first game of the season, Jack Williams. It's his 4th derby in his young career. To give the Eagles the perfect start to the second half, Jack Williams steers it through. He gets on the board in 2025. The Eagles get a much-needed goal to start this second half. 5-4-34 West Coast. Fremantle 8-6-54 margin cut back to 20 points. Opening minute. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Our experts, alongside myself, Mitch Turner and Clint Wheeldon, both players in derbies in their own rights, Sharad Wellingham and Peter Bell.
Centre bounce goals are so valuable, and I would have liked to have seen Brendan Cox just with a bit more body right at the end of the contest opposed to Williams. Well done to Williams, and it was a great kick from Graham, and Bailey Williams involved there too. He was the one who initially got the ground ball. Well done.
Sparkling start for West Coast. In the opening 60 seconds. Back in the middle. Good bounce from the umpire. Jackson waits and wins it down. Came through Sarong, but his hand passes straight to Bailey J. Williams. Kicks the Eagles inside forward 50 on the bounce. Pearce gathers, tackled by Owies. Held to him, ball up the call.
It's good heat from West Coast. They've got it going their way again.
And again, it was through Williams, wasn't it? That follow-up off the loose ball.
Jackson palms it down. It went to Brayshaw for the Dockers. Kicks towards the outer side of the ground. Tracy against Ginby. Ginby front position. Tracy continues to harass. Duggan tries to go in and lend support. Murphy Reid tapped it back. Picked up by Caleb Sarong. Hand pass in the direction of Reid. He wheels around on the southern wing. Goes back by hand. Finds Sharp. Sharp will kick.
Shocking kick.
Yep, couldn't get Reid. There were three Eagles surrounding him. Reid has done well to make that a 50-50. That's Murphy Reid. And then Ginby sees Sharp put it straight over the boundary line on the full. Free kick here for the West Coast Eagles. They've made a complete mess of that. The Fremantle Dockers, Ginby will have it at left half back. He shields his eyes from the sun and he'll send it towards left half forward.
Pack flies in the end. Liam Ryan unopposed at the front. Takes the mark for West Coast on his chest, turns, kicks into the pocket. Allen v. Pearce, the two captains, one-on-one, goes over the back. They wrestle it back towards the boundary. Neutral ball goes out of bounds. A little bit of spice, a bit of a lip.
Just wasn't to Allen's advantage, the kick, and Alex Pearce is a tough competitor. Just got back, put body on Allen, but the kicker really gave the Eagles skipper little chance.
Big couple of minutes coming up for the Eagles. Can they continue this momentum? Ball spun back in. Jackson tapped it down, almost sharked by Harley Reid. He overran it, instead came to O'Driscoll. Gets it out in front of Sarong. Industrious as ever, kicks up to the wing. Tracy, too strong for Ginby, takes the mark. Wants to move it quickly, played on, ran into a bit of trouble. In the end, got a looping handball over the top to Murphy Reid, who has a player free at right half forward in Amos. Lead on in the pocket. Voss leads up, takes the mark. Nice bit of ball movement there by the Dockers, and Voss will have another go from the set shot. This possibly the tightest of the angles, deep in the right forward pocket.
It was a great one-on-one win by Tracy, that mark. I mean, he's outsized Ginby, but got to still take it, don't you? And then his ability to get the ball moving forward with that handball over the top, I like it.
Can Patrick Voss get it right? If at first you don't succeed, try again and fail again. Across the face of goals, off hands, it'll be a ball in deep in the left forward pocket now for the Dockers. They still lead the Eagles by 20 points in the third term.
It's probably approaching yip territory for Pat Voss, unfortunately. The voice in the head would be pretty loud.
Spun in again, Jackson against Bailey Williams. Jackson gathered, handed it off to Bolton, couldn't take it cleanly. Tracked back, gathered it, gave it to Murphy Reid. Kicks into the right forward pocket. Amos couldn't mark, had his hands chopped. McGovern giving away the free kick. He gets up and immediately shoves Frederick away after knowing he's given the free kick away, and Amos will have a shot in the right forward pocket.
Murphy Reid makes such good decisions. He's been really creative with his handballs. He's been standing up in tackles as well, which is a hard thing to do when you're a young player, but Fremantle fans are going to love him for a long time.
Absolute steal, Murphy Reid in the draft, taken at pick 17. Vic Metro's MVP last year. Under 18s, All-Australian as well. In the meantime, let's go back to Jai Amos, who starts his approach from 47 out, hard up against the boundary. He's pushed it across the face. It's another minor score to the Dockers. 8-7, 55 Freo, 5-4, 34 the Eagles. 6 minutes gone in the third. This is Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Derby 60.
Quick kick in from Marrick, goes to Edwards. No one stood the mark, so he plays on, kicks up to the wing, going back with courage. Is Carl Warner. He hasn't had the cleanest of days, but on that occasion he showed a bit of heart, went back, took the mark, stepped off his line, had to play on, and the switch across his defensive 50 to Ryan was good, and now on in turn to O'Driscoll in the shadows of the southern side. Kicks it further up the wing. Presenting target is Amos in front. McGovern got a fist to it. Reed. Murphy on this occasion. Couldn't take it originally. Eventually got it. Got it to Sarong. Handball over the top to Brayshaw. Running towards the 50. Spears the pass in low. And Voss has it. It's 55 out from goal. Right half forward. Doesn't have a shot on this occasion. Sets it up to the top of the goal square. Jackson flying across. He's been paid the mark. Action Jackson. He floated across from the side. His name was written on it the whole way.
His name was written on it from the top of the 50, and he just floated down all on his own, ran past about 6 West Coast players. No one thought to even check him or just stop his run.
See the replay here.
But his run, the mark was taken out on the flank, and he was in the centre square.
Luke Jackson loves a big moment. Loves a derby goal. He puts it through. And Fremantle get one back in this third term. 9-7-61 the Dockers. 5-4-34 the Eagles. The margin is 27 points. Our experts here on ABC Sport. 20 derbies between them. And 1 Glendenning Allen medal. Sharad Wellingham and Peter Bell.
How good were Sarong's hands in tight at that contest before Brayshaw put it on the chest. I can't get over that lack of defensive effort from anybody at West Coast. Now, I know Jackson's a big, lumping lad. But
so you should see him.
So you can you could literally see him making his way down the middle of the forward 50.
It's not Isaiah Dudley sneaking forward.
No.
Yeah, look, that's one of those ones that comes up in the review, doesn't it? Oh. And it's very uncomfortable viewing because even one person putting body on means he doesn't get there.
Yep. And then it's a contest.
Down to the footy, here's Jackson again. Bailey Williams won it down, but only as far as Erasmus, who was tackled immediately and taken to ground by Baker. Ball up. Freo edge of the centre circles. Jackson wins this to Sarong. Good hands. Gave it to Frederick. Comes back again to Chapman. Evades 2 Eagles. Kicks deep inside forward 50. Govan worked Amos out from under it. Turned, went back together. Got a hand pass out to Jinby. That was well done by the Eagles. Jinby can clear towards left half back. Attacking the football. Williams has done well. Sends it down the line. Finds Kelly, who marks. Pauses for a moment. Owies runs forward. Still stands and waits. And sends it back to Cole. Marking just forward of the logo on the southern wing. Puts it in towards Hoff on the outer edge of the centre circles for West Coast. There's an opportunity to switch play here to McGovern, who stands on his own with an uncontested mark on the logo, and now it comes to Duggan. He's just shy of right half forward. Freo have got numbers back. Eagles took a while to get here. Duggan will kick into the right forward pocket. Allen flew, got hands to it, couldn't mark. Crashed the ground, it comes back to Kelly. Tackled and lost it. Sarong wins the free kick for the Dockers inside his defensive 50 and immediately flares it out to Sharp in the right back pocket.
Had to gather it off the deck, did Sharp. Retreats by hand all the way back to Ryan, as he often does. Just pumps it along to the wing. Tracy in front of Jinby goes over the back of both of them, and the umpire called it a push, and that seems a bit stiff. Don't think either player was going to mark it, and Tracy immediately turns the kick over inboard off the hands of Brockman. Now to Harley Reid. His kick, a shocker. Straight back to the Dockers. Hits Chapman in the middle of the ground. His kick sets Frederick a task, and he's up to it. Stood tall under the coming pressure of Duggan. Marked the ball 55 out. Could almost go the journey. If he wants to run around, he does. He sets it up to the top of the square. Fremantle will have 2 players there in Reid and Banfield. And in the end, it's punched through by the Eagles for a minor score. Not beautiful football by any stretch. 9-8-62 Fremantle, 5-4-34 West Coast. Margin, 28 points.
Game height, margin in favour of the Dockers.
Sarong up to 23 disposals.
Here goes McGovern. Kicking duty, short to Baker. Baker in the shadows. 7/8 of the ground in shade at the moment. Still bright sunshine ahead of us. Kicks towards the commentary wing. Archery went up over the back of Pearce. Neither could win it down. O'Driscoll gathered. He got tackled by Archer Reid. Took him to ground, holding the ball. Free kick for West Coast, just forward of right half back. Reid turns, sends it inside his defensive 50 to Duggan, who immediately looks to play on. The kick's not great, goes over the head of McGovern. Amos in hot pursuit. McGovern got there first. Picks it up, runs straight into Amos. It's held to him. Ball up the call.
That's a shocking bit of play.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
And did Gov look like he stopped running?
Yes, he did. He's got a gash over his eye. Maybe that was the reason why. He got that in the contest.
Yeah. Knocked above the left eye, I beg your pardon, in the contest.
Sort of drove with his head, didn't he?
Yeah. Maybe his knee. Is it Amos's knee?
Yep.
And a cap to come off the ground there. Is claret pouring from McGovern's head.
It looked really glancing, didn't it?
It's done more than a glancing blow, the amount of damage, blood pouring out of it.
Who kicked that over his head?
Duggan.
It's a bad miss, isn't it? No pressure. And you're going backwards as well, and now Fremantle get a stoppage.
It was Duggan out here on this wing who instigated and pushed for the switch, and then kind of nothing inside 50.
Back underway, ball tossed in the air, tapped down. Graham tried to take it for the Eagles. Driscoll stole it, and Graham became the tackler. Ball up, still inside Fremantle's forward arc, 45 metres out from their goal. Jackson tried to tap it back, couldn't find a teammate. Graham took it for West Coast. High kick out to the wing. Jack Williams wrestling one-on-one with Cox. Fell the way of the Eagles. Handball forward looking for Owies. Was chopped off by Chapman. Through to Warner. Now O'Driscoll for the Dockers. Kick inside the forward 50. Finds Murphy Reid. He takes the mark. 45 metres out from goal. 45-degree angle. It'll be a tough kick for the little Murphy Reid.
I love that from Heath Chapman. The drive at the game, handball hard and flat through, flailing arms, and I'm not sure if that kick from O'Driscoll was meant for Murphy Reid, but right place, right time.
Hasn't kicked a goal since that 4-goal burst at Cardinia Park against the Cats. Murphy Reid gets very close to the man on the mark. He kicks it straight into him. It's a tumbling ball towards the face of goal for the Dockers, and eventually Cole sees it out of bounds for the Eagles. It looked like he was getting close.
Yeah, I thought he might play on.
He did do that against the Cats. He sold the dummy for his first AFL goal. On this occasion, he took the kick and kicked it straight into the man of the mark. It's a boundary throw-in, toss back in. Voss got rid of his direct opponent in the ruck. Trying to find a teammate by hand, gave it straight to Long of the Eagles, who's tackled, just drops it on the ground. Umpire said, play on.
It's really got to be holding the ball.
Graham's clearing kick finds Brockman, who takes the mark outside defensive 50. He just tried to throw it at his boot, and he missed it. Umpire called play on as Brockman goes up the wing and finds Baker for the Eagles.
It's not one for name a game for those who remember the old days of buying the VHS for the classic games, as Baker's kick puts his teammate in the real pressure in Brockman. Winning it down to Rasmus. Here comes Fremantle. Sharp moves it on to Brayshaw. Kicks towards left half forward. Turns it over. Hoff in best position against Bolton. Takes the defensive mark for West Coast.
That was an opportunity for Brayshaw to recognise the numbers are out. Three of them
3 on 1. 3 on 1. Or
goes
just
to a 1-on-1.
Kick a low flat ball at Bolton. It was poor skill.
Switch of play. Dug into Jimby at left half back. Moves it on. Chance here for Owies. Tries to find a teammate in Long. One down by Warner. Spills to Banfield of the Dockers. Now to Brayshaw. Marks plays on by hand. Clark running by. 50 from goal. Sends it through. Huge roar as Jordan Clark kicks his first of the season. Went over the top of Dudley, who was in the goal square. Said he'll take the responsibility from the top of the 50-metre arc, and he kicks Freo's 10th. 15.5 gone in the third. The Dockers at 10-8-68. The Eagles 5-4-34. Freo double at the moment. West Coast score. They're out by a game-high 34 points. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Jeremy McGovern came to the bench with blood pouring from his head. He's got the strapping now around his head that we often see Andrew Brayshaw actually sporting, but and a new jumper as well. So he should be back on the ground fairly shortly.
hasn't been a pretty third quarter for this game, but Clark finished well on that occasion. Ball in the middle, Voss v Williams. Williams rose up for the Eagles. Couldn't find a teammate. Voss trying to break out of a couple of tackles. Umpire pinned him. He got caught on the final one. Couldn't get past Jack Graham.
What about when the forward goes in against the ruck and the ruck just puts a knee in his chest?
Pat Voss. That.
Yeah, welcome to the ruck.
Jack Graham laid the final tackle on him. Has the free kick, middle of the ground. Plays on. Kicks to the forward pocket in front. Allen coming through off hands. Kelly roved it beautifully and couldn't finish from the tight angle. That one was tough.
We've been bemoaning the lack of skill, and then that was clean as a whistle from Tim Kelly. Unfortunately, didn't end up in a goal, but the take-off hands was spectacular.
5-5-35 the Eagles, 10-8, 68 the Dockers, 33-point margin.
Here's Luke Ryan, not sure where to go, so stabs it now into the right back pocket and finds Warner. One of the two late changes, Wagner out and O'Meara missing through illness. He came in, so too did Aish. Aish remains the sub. Hewitt not required as yet either for the West Coast Eagles. Ball moved towards the southern wing. Here's Murphy Reid, sweeping hand pass over the top to Dudley. 2 goals on debut. Takes a bounce and finds Bolton. Marking 51 out from goal. Tracy leads into the right forward pocket. That's ignored. O'Driscoll wanted it. Was all on his own between centre half forward and full forward. In the meantime, Bolton goes on a little run and from 50 out, pumps it long but inaccurate. He's missed to the right-hand side. A minor score. Shane Bolton still looking for his first Freo goal. 10-9-69 the Dockers. The Eagles are 5-5-35, 18 gone in the third. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport, ABC Radio, Sport Digital, News Radio. And of course, as always, look for the AFL button on the ABC Listen app.
Short kick in for the Eagles to Jimby. Still looking into the sun in that left back pocket. Kicks up towards the wing. Allen flew, had it punched away from him out of bounds for a throw-in.
Allen cannot take a trick at the moment. He worked his backside off to get to that. Was out on his own and still Freo managed to get someone to make the contest.
One disposal, and I don't blame him necessarily, the Eagles co-captain. All spun back in. The front, Bailey Williams tapped it down, taken by O'Driscoll of the Dockers, who got dealt with late, and he'll win a free kick.
He's only had the 22 inside 50s, Oscar Allen, the team has, so not really enough for your key forwards.
So Nathan O'Driscoll has ball in hand. This will be disposal 16. Had a really good start to the season. Kicks up to the hot spot inside 50. Tracy flew, couldn't take the mark. Bolton off hands. Got it to Brayshaw. Over to Dudley. His kick towards goal was rushed and hurried. And it goes all the way across his own 50 in the end and goes out of bounds. Some Eagles fans wanted insufficient intent. I can promise you the first game with 2 already, he was going for goals. It's out of bounds. Deep inside the Dockers attacking 50.
Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner, Peter Bell and Sharad Willingham, our experts. Bridget Lacey downstairs. Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Voss wins the tap, came to Duggan, threw it on the boot, spirals up into the air, and Sharp's able to mark. No, play on was the call. Gets told to move it on immediately to Banfield. Left forward pocket, centering pass, no mark taken. Umpire says we'll ball it up. Players diving over the top of that. Murphy Reid and Brayshaw. It was Cole, the Eagle, underneath all of them. Voss and Williams. Williams palmed it down for the Eagles to Cripps. Clearing kick. Goes beyond defensive 50 to left half back. O'Driscoll got there first. Taps it to his own advantage. Runs it across the boundary line. Cripps in hot pursuit. Ball in the call. 10-9 plays 5-5. Time on now in the third term. Freo's lead remains 34 points. Ball spun in again. Kelly will bring it away. They'll get the clearance West Coast to Marrick. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Waiting underneath it. Luke Ryan. Well done. Brockman closed him down. He would have heard him coming. He stood firm underneath it and took the mark and puts it out to the skipper. And Pearce marks a Fremantle just shy of the logo on the commentary wing.
It was the mark of a 2-time All-Australian for sure. Luke Ryan. As Pearce chips it further up the wing, just forward of the logo. Johnson takes the mark. No one stood there. Played on immediately. Kick towards Amos. Couldn't take it. Ball at ground level inside the Dockers attacking 50. Hoff got it to Cripps. Bouncing ball. Outside defence to 50. Harley Reid takes it. Takes a bounce. Handballs forward to Noah Long. Running through the middle of Perth Stadium. Kicks a high ball inside 50. Courage from both players. Ryan and Reid went at it. It's knocked away towards Liam Ryan on this occasion. He gathers, spins, looks for a target inside the 50. Harley Reid flies high and takes a hanger. It's not his first Derby screamer. And it won't be his last, you imagine. A terrific mark over the top, inside the middle of the 50, on the back of Heath Chapman. He's always going to have a moment today, Harley Reid. That might be it. But this will lift the crowd.
Wonder if they all give him the bird in celebration.
Harley Reid, directly in front, 40 metres out. That will lift the Eagles faithful. Harley Reid gets his first goal of Derby 60. Margin cut back to 28 points. Will that be the spark that West Coast need? 6-5-41 the home side. 10-9-69 Fremantle. 22 minutes gone before we hear from our experts Jared Wellingham and Peter Bell. Bridget Lacey downstairs.
Yeah, Elijah Hewitt has just entered the game, the West Coast sub. Harry Edwards is sitting at the back of the bench, so I suspect he's the man being subbed out here for the West Coast.
It was a great contest from Archer that enabled Liam Ryan, wasn't it? Yep. To get that loose ball. Didn't take his eyes off the ball for 1 second, and he's in, game 4 or 5, I think it is. So, great courage.
Yep. Yeah, it was a great, honest contest from Reid and Ryan.
But yeah, beautiful mark from Harley Reid, and good to see him finish off his hard work.
I love this too. Hewitt into the game, fresh legs.
Birds kept caged, by the way. Eagles fans celebrating the more traditional way. Hacked out of the middle from Sarong after Williams won it down for the Eagles, but Sarong got it towards centre-half forward. Bolton gathered, quickly moved it on to Banfield. Bolton got dealt with after he got it away. Banfield has been able to find Frederick, so they're going to pay it here, with Frederick taking the mark, 50 out from goal, tighter than a 45-degree angle to the left.
Harley Reid to half-back. Yeah. Johnson goes with him all the way.
There's also a huge hole being left here with a lot of West Coast players not taking up the space.
It's in the left forward pocket. That's going to be ignored for the moment. Frederick decides he's going to launch it long. He's going to go for goal. Goodness me, that is a thumping kick. What a goal from Frederick. From 51 and a bit out, he launched. And despite the best efforts on the goal line by the Eagles, they couldn't get a fingertip to it. And West Coast will find themselves immediately on the back foot again. Fremantle get their 11. 11-9-75 to the Eagles, 6-5-41. It's back to a 34-point lead to Fremantle. What a kick that was. He missed one from 20 out last week. He's made up for it with that rocket today.
That is a big kick from Frederick, and it's just come off so flush off the boot, didn't it? Didn't deviate at all.
West Coast just trying to build momentum. That's exactly what they didn't want. The quick response out of the centre square, almost like a scissor kick from Sarong out of the centre bounce, and Frederick kicks a goal from outside 50.
24 disposals for Caleb Sarong. He leads all comers on the ground. 6 clearances as well. Jackson up in the ruck for the Dockers against Williams. Ball comes down and tied up immediately is Elijah Hewitt, the sub. Jackson and Williams will go at it again. Great tap from Jackson. Got it to Sarong. He was run down by Baker. Got his handball away, but it was taken by Hunt of West Coast. Kick inside forward 50. Punched away by Pearce. Off to Baker. Little step to his left. Kick towards the goal square. And going back, taking the mark, is Archer Reid. This should be his first goal in AFL football.
You had to do it.
Surely not. I like him. I like him as a young player. He does some nice things. He's got to build out his body.
I love this contest earlier in the game when he went for the mark, didn't take it, butted up and put a huge tackle on.
Reid, his name is Archer, and that is straight as an arrow. He gets his first goal in AFL football, Archer Reid, and every Eagle on the ground runs over to give him a pat on the back and to celebrate it in a derby nonetheless. Archer Reid, a lovely moment for him. More importantly, it's the Eagles' 7th goal that keeps the game within reach. 7-5-47 West Coast, 11-9, 75 Fremantle. Before we hear from Bridget Lacey, first goal is always a big moment, isn't it, Sharad? Billy, to do it in a derby must be nice.
Yep, I definitely remember my first goal. Do you, Billy?
Not in a derby, no. In a game, yes. Great play from Liam Baker. He stripped Caleb Sarong at the centre bounce and then pushed hard forward. I don't know what happened to Caleb, but he got goal side of Caleb, reacted quicker and set up the goal for young Archer Reid. Well done.
You mentioned it before, but I really like these moves being made. Harley Reid going behind the ball and Johnson's still kind of floating up into the contest and going and still playing midfield. Well, he did in that last centre bounce anyway. So I'm really liking the moves being made by McQualter here.
Bounce first time was a poor one. So the umpire looks to throw it up a second time. Jackson got it down, but it scooped up by Bailey J. Williams. Gave it to Graham, shoveled it forward. Harley Reid went to ground. Urging with it Johnson. Worked it out to Sarong. Now it comes to Brayshaw. Kicks Fremantle into the right forward pocket. Tracy! Mark not paid up against McGovern. Did enough to spoil it to ground. Came to Hoff. Oh, ugly kick up in the air by Marrick. He's gone to try to mark it himself and then is just taken under pressure by Voss over the boundary line at right full forward. It'll be a throw-in.
If he got tackled in play, that's holding the ball, isn't it? Kicking it to yourself.
And I'll tell you what, Josh Tracy had more of it than Josh Weddle did last night.
That was a mark.
I was surprised that wasn't paid just then. For Josh Tracy from the restart. Jackson got a hand pass out for the Dockers to Brayshaw, to Sharp, to Sarong in the right forward pocket. Centres the kick. Banfield flew, got hands to it. Marrick underneath it, shoveled it out to Hoff. Oh, he's run down by Bolton! Like a bolt from the purple. He took him to ground. He's got the free kick. He'll go back and have a shot from about 35 metres out. Hoff took too long. Bolton got him.
Looked up and saw a wall of white. Fremantle, like we've spoken about, set up so well behind the ball. Beautiful kick from the Fremantle player to a dangerous spot prior to that, and they just set up so well.
Just causes the kicker to hesitate and second guess, and before you knew it, Bolton was on him. It was a great chase, by the way.
47,000 people saw it happening. Hoff couldn't see it.
He was their big name recruit, Shea Bolton, dual premiership player with the Tigers. Will put boots of ball from 35 out. He is missed. And Hoff goes straight to him to just offer his commiserations. This might be on for a moment. More and more push and shove. Marrick decides to bring it into play. That'll break everybody up, and a chance here for West Coast to go beyond defensive 50. McGovern back to Marrick.
Kick up the wing from Marrick, marked by Jackson, hit the ground and took off straight away. Off to Murphy Reid, inside 50 to Patrick Voss.
Doesn't look good for McGovern here. It looked like he changed direction.
Groin?
And he's grabbing his groin, signalled to the bench.
He's got a bit of a look about him too, McGovern, and here he comes.
Yeah,
a little bit of dejection about the five-time All-Australian as he slowly trudges towards us. Well, the interchanges are below. We'll get Bridget Lacey to keep an eye on him. In the meantime, Patrick Voss, he's having another go. On the runway. Takes off and finally nails the landing. Patrick Voss has got a goal. 12-10-82 the Dockers, 7-5-47 the Eagles. That might just be the one to get the cat off the back for Patrick Voss, and the teammates got around him. The margin's out to 35. And contrasting scenes, a big smile on Patrick Voss and not a great look on Jeremy McGovern, who made the slowest walk off the ground. Before we hear from Sharad and Peter Bell, downstairs Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it took Jeremy McGovern that long just to get to the bench, so not good signs. And as I mentioned, West Coast had just made their sub, and it was a tactical sub. So his fellow key defence key defensive stock down there. Harry Edwards was subbed out tactically just before he's gone down with what looks like a bad injury. And just on the Dockers, Luke Ryan was very sore after a collision in defensive 50. He's had some work from the physios, but looks okay.
Well, that is bad news. So they've made the tactical sub, and then they lose one of their keys in McGovern to injury. The Dockers surge through after winning it through the middle. Brayshaw kicks towards right full forward. They wanted Amos. Couldn't gather.
Oscar Allen down back.
Yep.
Well, at least he's going to be around the ball a little bit more.
It's sent across for a rush behind. Oh, Marek got it on to Dewar immediately under pressure. Tackled. That should be deliberate. It is. He shoveled it towards the boundary line. Voss again, who was so relieved because it was becoming Ian Baker Finch-like, the yips before that most recent goal.
No doubt it'll fill a lot of talking space around West Coast's key defensive depth if Jeremy's to miss a few weeks. Don't want to jump the gun there, but it'll be a conversation for sure.
It's not great. He's now limping to the rooms. Here comes the opposite 20. Voss puts it up towards the teeth of goal. It's been allowed to bounce. That was intriguing. Hoff tapped it over his shoulder. There's a free kick being spotted here.
It was just a bit of an early block against Williams from Tracy. Just tried to check his run.
So the Eagles will have the free kick in left full-back, and he'll put it out to Marek, who marks hard up against the boundary in the right-back pocket. And then his kick had to be precise. It's found its way to Dewar, got one high, but elects to play on. Bursts through, and then beautifully with his kick finds Brockman, who marks on centre wing. Dewar continues his run, heads towards right half forward, kicks inside forward 50. Draper actually got in front of Warner, his own teammate. It came out the back for the Dockers. It's been locked in. Gathering it was Johnson, was tackled to ground and strongly tackled too by Jack Williams. A ball up the court.
You wouldn't believe it. Pat Voss has poked Jordan Clark in the eye there, I reckon. Back at halfback.
Did you notice how careful Bolton was when he went for the high five after Voss's goal?
Sarong to Brayshaw out of defensive 50. The Dockers, the kick to the wing. Bailey Williams was the first back there for West Coast. Gathered, got it to Marek. His kick almost chopped off by O'Driscoll. It's off hands, out of bounds. Where is Bill Laurie when you need him?
Well, I've heard of players needing kicking licences. Patrick Voss needs a high-five licence from this point on.
It's retracted, you reckon, Clint?
Yeah. No high-fiving for you.
That'll be on the Monday review. Put it away, Patrick. Ball's spun back in again. Jackson to the front for the Dockers. Straight down to Brayshaw. Kicks up towards Patrick Voss. Wrestling with Marek. Dive low. Took out Tyrell Dewar's legs. The umpire 10 metres away said nothing wrong. The out-of-area umpire, correctly so, paid the free kick because he just dived into Tyrell Dewar's legs.
There was some assistance from the West Coast player behind him pushing him into the contest.
Well, it's a big topic, the discussion, the push. Just joining us, Ryan Mansell from the Tigers. He's got 3 weeks for that, for his push in the game, was it 2 nights ago now? No, last night, Ryan Mansell.
Last night, yeah. So
it is a big topic on that occasion. Probably nothing to answer for. The siren has sounded, though, for three-quarter time. The Dockers, they are 12-11-83. West Coast to 7-5-47. The margin is 36 points. I do the maths in my head before we hear from our experts and get the goal kickers. Bridget Lacey downstairs.
Yeah, Clint mentioned a dejected-looking Jeremy McGovern trudged down to the rooms with the Docks a short time ago. West Coast have confirmed it is a groin issue for the star defender, so hopefully not a severe one.
Didn't look great the way he left the ground. He was in real strife, and you could just tell from his reaction how he was feeling. Jeremy McGovern, just what West Coast could ill afford after making the tactical sub with another defender, Harry Edwards, coming off to bring in the pace of Elijah Hewitt. So they find themselves one short on the bench and one defender short as well, West Coast, with a quarter to play. Fremantle lead at three-quarter time. They're up by 36 points, 12-11-83 to the Eagles 7-5-47. The goal kickers for Freo. Tracy's got 3. Dudley on debut with 2. Singles to Clark, Jackson, Voss, Amos, O'Driscoll, Frederick and Johnson. While for West Coast, all single goal kickers. Ryan, Brockman, Cripps, Owies, Archer Reid, Jack Williams and Harley Reid. Reid's kicking the last 2 goals for what it's worth for West Coast. Earlier today, Adelaide kept their winning start to the season intact. They beat North Melbourne by 36 points. Here with a quarter to go at Perth Stadium of Derby 60. The Dockers by 6 goals over the West Coast Eagles. Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, News Radio, and on the AFL button on the ABC Listen app, this is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
The news is moving fast. Drop zone. I'm going to dive right in.
The brand new season of The Weekly.
The news will cushion my landing, right?
Wednesday nights on ABC TV and ABC iView.
Nailed it.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Jackson v Williams in the ruck. Jackson won it down for the Dockers. Williams, though, sharked it for the Eagles. Got it to Baker. His handball missed Graham. He was able to go back and gather. Run to the 50. Spear it inside onto the chest of Jack Williams, who takes the mark 15 metres out, directly in front. Should be able to go back and slot the first goal of the second half. His first game of the season, Jack Williams. It's his 4th derby in his young career to give the Eagles the perfect start to the second half. Jack Williams steers it through. He gets on the board in 2025. The Eagles get a much-needed goal to start this second half. And Voss has it. It's 55 out from goal. Doesn't have a shot on this occasion. Sets it up to the top of the goal square. Jackson flying across. He's been paid the mark. Action Jackson. He floated across from the side. His name was written on it the whole way. Luke Jackson loves a big moment. Loves a derby goal. He puts it through.
Spills the Banfield of the Dockers. Now to Brayshaw. Marks plays on by a hand. Clark running by. 50 from goal. Sends it through. Huge roar as Jordan Clark kicks his first of the season.
Ryan and Reid went at it. It's knocked away towards Liam Ryan on this occasion. He gathers, spins, looks for a target inside the 50. Harley Reid flies high and takes a hanger. It's not his first derby screamer, and it won't be his last, you imagine. A terrific mark over the top, inside the middle of the 50. Harley Reid, directly in front, 40 metres out. That will lift the Eagles faithful. Harley Reid gets his first goal of Derby 60.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
2 games in the Not At All National Rugby League to bring you up to date with full time at Campbelltown. The Warriors have beaten the Tigers by 2, 26-24. Earlier on, love it when Manly play Para. The Eagles, the Seagulls, winning that one by 14 points, 26-12. 3/4 time here at Perth Stadium. Derby 60 looks to be going the Dockers' way. They lead by 36 points. Let's get the thoughts of our experts. Premiership players, both of them. Peter Bell and Sharad Wellingham on ABC Sport.
It's not really the opportunity you want to be presented with for Minnie McQualter, but he's got an opportunity here to move the magnets around, try a few different things with McGovern going down and having made that tactical sub and taking Harry Edwards off. He's going to have, throw a few ideas around and see what the coaches can come up with. Did see in the 3/4 time huddle that Harley and Oscar Allen were both in the defensive line, so we'll see them continue to play down back. But they've got to sort it out at source. They're getting belted around in the midfield. Fremantle's ability to get it from inside to out and then take away from that contest is really, really evident at the moment.
Yeah, that Fremantle just look like they've got a bit more experience, a bit more depth, a bit more seasoned in and around the contest, and that supply, which is now up to from
50 or 49 to 25.
49 to 25 is just too much for the defenders, the West Coast defenders, to cope with, and exacerbated by the loss of Jeremy McGovern, one of the great centre half backs of probably the last 20 years or so. So, and again, I mentioned it during that third quarter. That's going to be a big challenge for the club, isn't it? No Tom Barrass anymore. Harry Edwards' form has been a little bit patchy. Who else they can call on? And maybe, just maybe, it will be Oscar Allen for a little while. He'll be required in the defensive half rather than up forward.
Just for what it's worth, Caleb Sarong up to 28 disposals. Game high for him. He just loves playing against the Eagles. 3 Glendinning Allen medals already to his name. Brayshaw has 25 for the Eagles. Ryan Marrick leading the way with 23. Baker with 17.
It's been more an accumulation for Sarong. At the end of the day, he's got 7 clearances to 3/4 time, and he's got a lot of footy and 8 ground ball gets and everything else. But I don't think he's been super damaging.
Who has? Tracy.
Yeah, just with the 3 goals,
like
the presence.
The presence and his kind of contest work, but then ability to tackle and just be present at marking contests when required. I think he's had a huge impact on the game.
Yep.
Right now, who wins the Glendenning Allen Medal?
Well, I think Sharon and I would probably say that we'd go with Tracy, but maybe the voters might see it a different way and go with the 28 disposals from Sarong. Mind you, if he has a 10 or 12 in the last quarter, which he could well do, I'm not going to argue too much, put it that way, if that's what eventuates.
Unless he keeps kicking it to Tracy, who keeps going back and kicking goals.
Any else stand out for you, Mitch, from the stats?
The main ones, inside 50s, 49-25 the Dockers' way. They are smashing the Eagles in that area. Hence the 36-point margin going into the last, Clint Wilden.
They just weren't able to get momentum, West Coast. It seemed to be they'd get a score, then Fremantle would almost get a goal straight afterwards, so they couldn't build any pressure on Fremantle in that third quarter, because it was 4-3 in the quarter, but just weren't able to apply the pressure from a scoreboard perspective.
Brayshaw's had 9 score involvements, what it's worth. He leads all comers.
He should have had 15-16 with better skills today, and I mean that sincerely. He's had a good game, but just hasn't kicked it as well as what an elite midfielder should.
Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Glad you could be with us wherever you are around the country. 1 quarter to come in Derby 60. Fremantle desperate to break their duck. So too West Coast. So much more at stake for a Fremantle side who such big things were expected from in 2025. First bounce wasn't a good one. Umpire throws it up. One down by Jackson. Sarong involved immediately. Gets a kick around the body towards centre half forward. Good mark, Marrick. Defensively for the Eagles. Came out, had it at the top of the 50-metre arc. Elects to play on by hand to Jimby. Almost ran into trouble. Voss got him. Shoveled the hand pass out. Anywhere would do. Marrick has to go back and gather. Picked it up at left half back. Gave it to Allen in defence for the Eagles. He's kicked down the line. Marked by the Dockers in Luke Ryan. Has it just shy of the wing. Right up against the boundary. The kick had to be precise. It wasn't to Johnson. Elijah Hewitt won it down, shoveled the hand pass forward. It was a 2-on-1 against the Eagles. Allows Clark to gather. Sweeping hand pass into the middle of the ground. Brayshaw under pressure did really well. Got it to Sarong. Kick towards centre half forward, marked by Bolton. Wheels onto his left. Puts it into space in the left forward pocket. The Eagles had numbers there, and Tyrell Dewar goes back to take the mark defensively. Stabs the pass along. He's at right half back and plays on by hand to Harley Reid.
Runs into trouble. Reid had to deal with O'Driscoll. Forced him to just throw it on the boot. Turned it over. Straight to Cox of the Dockers, to Brayshaw. Back to Bolton. Played on. Didn't see the pressure coming. Somehow got out. Handball over the top to Dudley. Kick towards Amos is a little high. It's punched away by Jimby. Johnson got taken high. Just clumsy by Marrick. He put the hand right over the shoulder, right in front of the umpire. It wasn't even with a lot of force. It was he just laid it there. And it's a free kick to Johnson. He'll go back 45 out, slightly better than a 45-degree angle.
Kicked a great goal in the first quarter, Matty Johnson, and gets an opportunity to add a second. Gee, the players look tired, don't they? And sometimes the lack of awareness, you can sheet home to some fatigue setting in.
Johnson looking for his second goal to push the margin out beyond 40 points. In the bright green boots, the white strip of the Dockers, Johnson spears it towards goal. It's just away to the right. Minor score 12-12-84, Fremantle 7-5-47, the West Coast Eagles.
Duggan's got the kicking duties. Runs away from the city end of the ground and thumps it long to the southern wing. Dockers had numbers there as well, and Driscoll's taken the mark.
I've liked his game. Still working on his skills, but he runs two ways. He's got a good aerial, pretty good tackler.
Fluoro yellow boots on for O'Driscoll. 30 on his back as he kicks all the way back to Ryan, marking just inside the defensive edge of the centre square for the Dockers. Luke Ryan plays on, out towards the commentary wing. That's a beautifully weighted kick for Clark. Just had enough to go over the top of the two Eagles players who were there. Clark marks, and that kick was equally perfectly weighted to Frederick. Skills have been a bit better in that passage of play than we've seen throughout much of today. Frederick for the Dockers. Into the right forward pocket. Mark not taken then. There were two Eagles to beat. Moss had both Hoff and Ginby with him. It's off hands and over for a throw-in. About 40 out from the Dockers attacking goal, heading to the city end of Perth Stadium, the right of our broadcast position in this quarter. 12-12 plays 7-5. Dockers in front, early stages, final turn. Jackson got it down, spilled to the Eagles in Hunt, whose kick is up into the air and out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Freo at right half forward. The Dockers have a comfortable lead. They're up by 37 points, 4 gone in the fourth.
Jeremy Sharp, ball in hand. Just beyond the junction at right half forward, sets it up to a massive pack. Jackson floating across top of the goal square, couldn't mark. Bolton's in there, he's tackled immediately by Allen. Who's been, as mentioned by Peter Bell, Sharad Wellingham deep in defence in this last quarter. Ball tossed up in the air. Williams taps it down. Harley Reid broke the tackle of Frederick. Got the handball across to Baker. His handball missed Oscar Allen. Was able to go and gather. Tucked up against the boundary line and he ran out of yardage. Ran out of room out there. He stepped over the line. It'll come all the way back. It'll be a ball inside the forward 50 of the Fremantle Dockers.
Haven't really had their forward 50 mojo going Fremantle this season so far. Hasn't had any real scoring potency from that source.
Ball spun back in. Jackson for the Dockers got to the front, knocked it towards Frederick, coming through Shea Bolton on the left boot, kicks towards goal. It's off the hands of the waiting Amos. And it goes through for a minor score. He looks lively, Shea Bolton, hasn't found a major yet. 12-13, 85 the Dockers, 7-5, 47 the Eagles. Mitch Turner here for Sunday Footy on ABC Sport alongside Clint Wheeldon.
Dockers by 38 into the 6th minute of the final turn. It opens up for Marrick to take a couple of bounces, runs up the centre. Short pass comes to Long. Marrick gets the handball back. And then he kicks in the direction of Jack Williams, who marks and plays on to Hunt, kicking towards centre half forward. That's a good mark. Going back with the flight, Jackson had to stretch up above his head. Didn't know what was behind him. Dragged it in and steers it into the right back pocket to Chapman, who marks. No hurry to move it on. Runs along the boundary line now. Kicks towards centre wing. Commentary side. Ginby had a little shove to Voss. Worked him out from under the football. The ball's off hands and over for a boundary throw-in. Let's head downstairs. Bridget Lacey on the boundary.
Yeah, Fremantle sub James Aish just making his way onto the ground now. I'm just waiting to see who it is who's going to be subbed out. It looks like Jeremy Sharp.
Wait and see who that player is. Ball spun back in again. Jackson tapped it down. It was taken by Kelly. His grubbering kick towards half forward. Found the hands of Jack Williams. Off to Liam Baker, who cannot finish off the good work. And it bounces, must be right on the boundary line.
Must have touched the last piece of painted grass.
Technically a kick for touch then, you'd say, in other sports. So it'll be a boundary throw-in. Deep in the attacking 50 for the West Coast Eagles. Jackson got to the front, tapped it down to Banfield in game 100, set up on immediately and is wrapped up. So they will try and restart. And the Eagles get something back in this fourth term. All tossed up in the air. Jackson tapped it to himself, trying to rove it. And is tackled immediately. We'll have another ball up now, about 35 metres out from the Eagles' goal.
Throwing up. Jackson palmed it down for Freo. Out after it though, Baker for the Eagles. Hand pass to himself. Gathered, tried to run it along the ground. Instead, the kick was intercepted by Luke Ryan. Kick to no one in particular. Now, Pearce has hurt himself as he tried to contest that footy against Brockman. Hunt gathers, sends it back towards goal and just misses. Pearce landed awkwardly and he's limping away from that contest.
Always worry about Alex Pearce with the ankle or feet.
Yeah, absolutely. 12-13, 85 the Dockers, 7-6, 48 the Eagles, 8 gone in the fourth.
Kick out goes straight up the middle of the 50 to Cox. Has Frederick on centre wing, takes the mark, goes quickly, kicks it up towards Murphy Reid. Kick in a half from home. Alex Pearce makes his way off. Bridget Lacey will keep an eye on that. Murphy Reid, in the meantime, spots a lead inside the forward 50. And Amos, with plenty of space, takes the mark. Will go back directly in front, 35, 40 metres out.
It's not looking good for Alex Pearce. Oh, it looks like it's knee.
Yeah, just jarred it. Yeah, jarred it, landed awkwardly, which doesn't mean Fremantle are out of the woods, but
like you said, with his feet issues, ankle issues.
Jai Amos has 1 goal for the day. Hasn't always been accurate. Set shot directly in front. Umpire wiggles to the left, but Amos has got his second. And they're starting to give themselves a bit of a buffer again, the Dockers. The lead is back out to 43 points. 13-13, 91 their score. The Eagles stuck back on 7-6-48. 9 minutes gone in the final term. Bridget Lacey down on the boundary. What can you tell us, Bridge?
Yeah, Alex Pearce is still in the hands of the Doctors, but the Dockers have confirmed that Jeremy Sharp was a tactical sub, so both clubs making their sub and then immediately suffering injuries straight afterwards, so not great luck for either.
Sung his praises a lot, Murphy Reid, but no panic, just wait.
Let the forwards do the
forwards get to work, and then he just laid it out beautifully for Jai Amos.
I'm not sure if it was a mix-up in a changeover or one of the Eagles defenders slipped, but there's two of them sitting kind of doing nothing.
Jackson palms it down from the restart. Bolton got a hand pass away to Sarong. Disposal 31 for him. Back to Bolton, to Jackson. Sweeps the hand pass forward. Erasmus drags it down. His hand pass wasn't great. Bounced off an Eagle, came to Baker. It was Dewar who was in the way. Gives it back to Graham. Has to backtrack. Takes a bounce under pressure from Bolton. He's kicked beyond offensive 50. Spills back inside the forward 50 for the Dockers for O'Driscoll. Kicks towards full forward. Pack goes up. No mark taken. Amos on hands and knees. Tackled by Harley Reid and Graham. Came out the side. Graham knocked it forward. Elijah Hewitt couldn't do much with it. Came to Sarong. Worked at the Frederick. Now to Banfield. In game 100, he has a shot at goal and misses everything. To the left-hand side. No change to that score. Freo 13-13, 91. The Eagles are 7-6-48. 11 gone in the fourth. Free kick to West Coast at right full back.
Switch across the face of goal to Oscar Allen. Shea Bolton on the mark. He's a little sore. He got crunched in that last pack going back with a flight. Man's the mark here. Allen eventually gets called to move it on. Kicks it outside defensive 50 to the wing. O'Driscoll couldn't take the mark for the Dockers. Aish gathered off ground level at the back. Got it to Clark. Horrible little kick. Inboard looking for Draper. Straight to Hewitt. Did well to win the ball. Get it to Long. Then to Liam Ryan, dribbling kick inside forward 50. Cripps gathers, delays the handball. Off to Jaden Hunt. Beautiful finish on the left foot. Terrific finish by Jaden Hunt. Running at top pace towards the boundary, left forward pocket, tight angle. And the snap around the body was as good as you'll see from the former Demon. Well, it cuts the margin back to 37 points. They need a few more, the Eagles. But that's a start. 8-6-54. They trail the Dockers 13-13, 91. Dual premiership players in the box, both in their own right. Sharad Wellingham and Peter Bell. Lovely finish.
I'm shaking my head. That was a really, really difficult kick. Jaden Hunt was running flat stick, which, if you know Jaden Hunt's pretty fast, and just laid it across his body on the left. Shocking turnover from Jordan Clark and some poor bodywork, I reckon, from Josh Draper as well. Poor risk mitigation, but full credit to the Eagles there, and Jaden Hunt gets the goal.
Nice play from Cripps too, just to hold up the hand pass till the minute that it was the exact second it needed to be released. The restart. Williams went up, got a fingertip to it. Ball spills out the side. Still there to be won. Erasmus going backwards, picks it up for the Dockers, gave it to Johnson. Goes out in the direction of left half forward. Cole can't gather. That's clever from Murphy Reid. Slapped it back to Dudley. Just chips it forward for Erasmus. Marks 50 out from goal at left half forward.
Take your time. He's going to have a shot, is he?
He's pointed at the big sticks as if that's what he's going to do.
Love that kick from Dudley as well.
Very clever.
Love the knock on.
Erasmus kicks instead towards full forward. Pack's there. No mark taken. Amos couldn't gather. Cole at the drop. Had it for West Coast to Jinby. Takes a dangerous bounce. Got away from Dudley. Sends the Eagles beyond defensive 50. Stretching. Jack Williams couldn't mark. Pressure came from Brennan Cox. Ball's hit the deck. Umpire will call holding the ball here.
Was he expected to just, as the ball was bouncing at him, just knock it away?
I think it was more that he made no effort to get rid of it at all as Aish was on top of him. Handed it off to Luke Ryan, who stabs it into the right forward pocket, and Amos marks.
Good news for Freo here, Mitch, with Alex Pearce returning to the field of play. And this is a small thing, but if Jai Amos is able to kick this goal, it's significant. Give him a confidence boost. That's 3 for the day. If he can, and it's a difficult shot, but, it is important in the context of Fremantle's early part of the season.
Jai Amos. He's good enough. He snaps, brings it around from the right forward pocket. That is a great goal. He's got his third. And that could be, as Peter Bell said, a much-needed confidence booster for Jai Amos. 3 goals today. Fremantle with 14. 14-13, 97 to 8-6, 54. That's the West Coast Eagles. 14 gone in the final term. That was being held to Williams. I reckon it's that you just got to make that pretend effort, even though there's never a chance in the world you're getting it out. You can't just lay over the top of it.
No, you're right. They want to see at least an attempt to try and get it out.
Yeah.
Not just standing there, laying on it with your arms spread.
Even if you're never getting it out, and he was never going to get it out.
He nearly did knock it away.
Yeah.
And then Aish came in and brought the ball back in.
Yeah. But you have to make that, the quick arm movement. I'm trying to get it out, ump.
As Adelaide Crows fans call it, the Sam Draper.
What?
Lay on the ball.
Oh, yeah.
They'll forget about that one.
He didn't get picked for it.
He didn't get picked. And he found it very humorous at the time, did Sam Draper. Ball in the middle. Jackson and Williams had a couple cracks at it. Eventually it came out the way of the Dockers. Shea Bolton kicks it inside forward 50. Allen punches it away. Reed overran it. The Dockers variety. On hands and knees, Marek. He's on top of the ball. Manages to squeeze out. Kelly's kick smothered by Erasmus. Fell to Oscar Allen. Still inside defensive 50. He goes to Duggan, who clears it out to the wing. Aish was trying to track it back and got a couple of horrible bounces with that. The Sharon that normally does that at times. And eventually it's out of bounds.
Good forward pressure then from Fremantle this late in the game. They're still really cracking in.
Ball to be tossed back in. Jackson v. Williams. Jackson had a falcon in the ruck. It knocked him on the head. Fresh airy with the arm. It fell to Clark, who's wrapped up. They'll go again. Jackson v. Williams. Williams on this occasion, he had a complete fresh area as the ball came down and hit the turf. Players crashed in. Erasmus was in there first. Eventually O'Driscoll took it for Fremantle. Got it to Johnson. Now Shea Bolton has some room. Takes a couple of bounces. A second, a third. Loses possession. Eventually just taps it away. The Eagles win it back. Hunt to Long to Dewar. They're away through the middle with Hewitt.
Hewitt kicks over the top of the centre circles. Inside forward 50. He wants Archer Reed, who marks. In front of Pearce. He's landed solidly here, Reed. Needs a little bit of help to get up off the turf.
I think he may have collected his head on the Fremantle knee, maybe, as he was landing.
Yeah, got a little bit of whiplash there. Looks okay. Good mark, though, wasn't it?
As he was rolling backwards at pace, back of the head made solid contact with the Perth Stadium surface, which is hard. It would jar. Kicked his first AFL goal earlier today, looking for his second from 47 metres out, not with that kick. Was always missing right. Minor score. 8-7-55 the Eagles. 14-13-97 the Dockers. 17 gone in the final term. Derby 60 on ABC Sport.
Jordan Clark kicking duties once more. Short to Erasmus. Gets it back as he runs towards his own defensive arc. The kick out to the wing was perfect. Perfectly weighted to Frederick. Takes the mark. Kicks it on the 45 inboard to O'Driscoll. Marks it on centre wing. High kick into the middle of the ground. Erasmus had to be brave as he stood under it. Managed to take the mark. His kick up towards Johnson is a good one. Just forward of the centre square. Drills it inside 50. And presenting again, which he's done well all day, is Patrick Voss. And he is cramping.
I was just about to say the West Coast players looking tired.
Yeah, a lot of hands on knees there, looking at Tim Kelly, Dewar, Oscar Allen. And it's no surprise, really, with what they had to play through and then the travel afterwards last week. Another hot day today as well.
Yeah, and it's just enabled Fremantle to be precise, and they've actually been a bit cleaner with their skills and just chipping through them.
Doesn't always nail them, Patrick Voss, but he gives himself a lot of chances. Voss kicks from the paint of 50, sinks the slipper into the Sharon. I'll give you a guess. He missed. Sends it right, it's a minus score. 14-14, 98 the Dockers, 8-7, 55 the Eagles. 43-point margin.
Marrick goes right up the corridor, misses everyone. There is Alex Pearce. Runs the attacking edge of the centre square, kicks back inside forward 50. Gathered at pace. Amos worked it out to Erasmus. Goes short. Here's Dudley. Hands it off to Brayshaw. Hits the right hand posts. He tried to just run it along the ground. He threw the booted ball the moment he received it. Right hand post got in the way. Minus score.
Runs so hard, Andy Brayshaw.
It's a cruel game.
Tom Cole brings it back into play. Kicks up the middle of the ground. Ryan punches it down for the Dockers. Back into congestion. Coming away with it, Hewitt got it to Kelly. He was tackled. Holding the ball called by the umpire. O'Driscoll takes the advantage of the Dockers. The kick was just a bit heavy for Jai Amos as it goes out of bounds. Dudley, though, he played a really nice game today, hasn't he?
He's looked sharp. And look, it's late in the game, but Fremantle need to execute their skills if they want to be a really good team. That's just another bad miss from O'Driscoll.
53,289 in the house for Derby 60. Ball tossed back in from the stoppage. Outside of the boot, Murphy Reid, it's touched. Almost a little bit of magic for young Murphy Reid.
Well, where was it touched? What's happened? The goal umpire said touched and the field umpire said, no, we'll take a look at it. Is that your read of what just happened?
Well, the field umpires run straight in as well and said, hang on. Let's review it. So replay shows Murphy Reid outside of the boot. Now
it's hit the fingertips of Bailey Williams.
Fingertips. It's brushed his right thumb and index finger.
So why did the umpire ask if it was already called touched?
It's already called touched. I don't know. Just to make sure, I suppose.
Unlike what we saw the other night with Jacob Wiedering, you definitely see the fingertips move here.
Conclusive.
Behind. 14-16, 100, 8-7, 55. Dockers lead by 45 points. Clint Wilden.
First time since Freo brought up the 100 points since round 21 last year. And they beat West Coast by 35 and scored 110 points that day. Harley Reid goes on a run. Bringing it back into play. Kicks towards the commentary wing. Jackson flew, crashed into it. Ball spilled down. Eagles again get it away. Jack Williams kicks inside forward 50. Cripps running with the flight of the football. Marks. Has it just inside the left forward pocket. He'll be kicking from 50 out if he decides to go for goal. He's already kicked a ripper earlier today. That was from the right forward pocket. This is from the left. He's certainly skillful enough. He's just asking the boundary riders to shovel across. One of them he used to be with the West Coast Eagles in Hamish Brayshaw. Here comes Cripps. We're right behind the kick. Oh, it's a piece of mastery. What a wonderful, wonderful goal from Jamie Cripps. He's got his second, and both of them have been outrageously good set shots. Gun barrel straight. Never looked like missing the moment it left the boot. And the Eagles are going to go away on the wrong side of the ledger today, but they're two wonderful bits of skill in a game that has sometimes been lacking it. Fremantle's lead cut to 39 points. Fremantle 14-16, 100. West Coast with their 9th, 9-7, 61. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Let's hear from our experts, Sharad Wellingham and Peter Bell.
Love the contest. The first off the taken guy on the mark from Harley Reid generated a fast play. But Archer's clean hands off that contest, front and centre, just fired it straight away. And then the kick from Cripsy. Done it from both flanks. It was absolutely like you called. It was mastery.
An Eagles player once told me he's their best kick for goal outside 50. So he's proved it today. 2 from 2 from that range. Back in the middle. Jackson takes it away for the Dockers. Handball's out in front of Brayshaw. Has to collect under pressure from Jack Williams. The tackle forces the ball free and then it's locked up underneath. And they'll ball it up just in front of the Dockers interchange. 53,000 here today. Ball tapped from Jackson down to Sarong, now to Warner, running across the wing. Handball inside the centre square to Chapman, set him a task. And the umpire wanted to blow the whistle quickly, had to wait, but eventually it was holding the ball. The ball goes off to Kelly by hand, out to Liam Ryan, right half forward, plays on, has a couple of targets inside 50 and kicks it straight to Brennan Cox of the Dockers, whose kick is equally as bad, dribbles it towards Sarong, who somehow cleans it up and finds Chapman at right half back. That was the most Brennan Cox kick I've ever seen.
You could cue the Benny Hill music for that. Chapman goes right back to fullback. Here's Luke Ryan who marks. Sarong, by the way, with 34 disposals. Andrew Brayshaw with 28. Marrick with 28. It's beyond defensive 50. There's no mark taken out there. Big pack. The Eagles are able to win it away. Looking to work it inside forward 50. Here's Cripps again. Off the ground. Hands it on to Liam Ryan. Has space to work with in the right forward pocket to Archer Reid. Spoil is okay. It was front on from Chapman. I thought that might have been front on contact, but no, according to the officials. It's off hands and over for a boundary throw-in. Billy, your thoughts?
Probably disguised it well enough, Chapman.
Yep.
Spun back into play, left full forward for the West Coast Eagles. Ali Williams won it down. Brayshaw set upon immediately. Oh, he's got him. Ball up the call. Still the Dockers well in front. 24 and a bit gone. They lead by 39 points in this final term.
Jackson and Williams have gone at it all day, and once again it's tapped down to Sarong, who gets it to Brayshaw. Tumbling kick out to the wing. Tracy gathered beautifully, sold the dummy. Handball in front of Frederick, pursued by Cole. Great chase by the Eagles defender, turns it over. Graham picked it up, off to Dewar. Now Kelly back to Dewar, back to Graham. The Eagles through hands, trying to move it down the wing. Graham pulls the kick inside. Harley Reid takes the mark, plays on, unloads from 55, long to the goal line. And another good mark by Archer Reid. He's had a lovely day today, the young man.
Harley Reid, by the way, after all of that, involved in a wrestle with Sarong, well off the ball after that happened. He's been dragged out of it by Chapman, and it's on in the derby.
You watch that, I'll watch the kick.
They still continue to push and shove. Baker goes in, takes Chapman away.
And while that all happens, Archer Reid steps around, and after kicking his first goal in AFL footy, he gets his second. He wasn't too concerned about the fight. One Reid was pushing and shoving in the middle. The other one for the Eagles was kicking a goal. He's got two. He's number 22. And the margin is back to 33 points. 10-7-67 the Eagles, 14-16-100 the Dockers.
Did you just see the replay?
Yes, so after that, what's happened is Reid and Sarong have had a bit to say. Sarong's pointed at something. Reid has then shoved him over. Sarong's hit the deck. Reid has immediately protested the umpire. He's thrown himself on the ground here.
He's flopped.
Then it was on.
He's flopped.
Then it was on for everybody.
It's good.
He was smart what Sarong's done, because he's tried to get it turned over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hasn't had enough of the ball, has he?
Been
Just
pretty good in
35
this.
times.
Yeah, been pretty good in this last quarter. He's probably
His
done
clearances,
enough.
hey. He's been damaging.
What is he up to? 10 clearances. Yep.
Good judges might have tipped him on Sports Talk on Saturday. I'll just put that out there. 14-16-100 to 10-7-67. One down by Bailey Williams. Trying to work it forward. Eventually that's to Hewitt. That's beautifully done. And Hewitt hand passes it off to Harley Reid, who launches but misses left.
Good mark at the goal square by the support team.
Behind the goal. Another minor score, 10-8-68 to 14-16-100. 27 gone in the fourth. Still, we'll wait to see what the judges think when it comes to the Glendenning Allen medal.
Clark kicking in again. High one into the middle of the ground. Cole flew for the Eagles. Couldn't take the mark. Clever little tap by Shea Bolton onto Frederick. Kicks it inside 50. Amos out the back. Takes the mark. Runs into goal. And kicks his fourth. Slow start to the season for Jai Amos, but just like that, he's found himself with 4 goals in Derby number 60. The Dockers answer back 15-16-106. The Eagles are 10-8-68, 38-point margin. This is kind of about the time sometimes you say the stinger's gone out of it, but when it's a Derby, never really goes out of it.
And without wanting to labour the point too much, but that's exactly the kick that Brayshaw needed to give Amos as well. Just get him back towards goal, get it spinning right first of all, and you just turn a maybe goal into a definite. Nice little knock on from Bolton, who's won a lot of footy today, 21 disposals. He's probably been at his most effective when he hasn't tried too hard. A few times he's just tried a bit hard. If he's keeping it simple, he's having a big impact.
There's 3,000 or so Fremantle fans taking up the away allocation in this crowd of 53 and a bit. They try the Freo chant. The Eagles fans, they've seen enough. They head for the exits. They'll get the centre clear. It's Hewitt involved again. Getting a kick away towards the right forward pocket. Liam Ryan over Rennick. Graham slides out looking to slap it back. Cripps taps it in the direction of Baker. Got taken high by Erasmus. Free kick the West Coast. They'll have it at right half forward. Baker's about 55, maybe 60 from goal now. Tracks back to stand in line with the attacking edge of the centre square. From right half forward, he puts it into the right forward pocket. Liam Ryan flew, couldn't mark, it spills down and Cripps tries to keep it in. Unsuccessfully though, throwing in the right forward pocket for the Eagles. Fremantle are going to win their 27th derby. They'll close in on West Coast, who still have 33 wins. They lead that ledger. They'll get the clearance from the restart. Erasmus threw it on the boot for the Dockers, but marked by Cole. 55 from goal between centre half forward and right half forward. Stands in front of the attacking corner of the centre square. Takes a couple of steps, kicks over the top of Frederick, sends it towards full forward. And then Jackson decided to attack the football. He brings down the mark at full back.
Been made of Jackson's day, Belly show.
It's been pretty good, Jackson. It's been an absorbing contest with Bailey Williams, who's spending some time off the field for a little while this quarter. But Jackson's probably shaded Williams.
Kick up to the wing by Jackson. Voss couldn't take the mark. Ends up with Johnson. He was tackled, dispossessed, and then Brady Hoff just taken high by Bolton.
Just give the first handball, Johnson.
So Hoff's free kick. A lot of slow-moving players out there at the moment. Hoff kicks inside the forward 50. Big fist came from Jackson from behind. Banfield took the loose ball, broke a tackle. Off to James Aish. Bumped as he kicked it. It found Johnson at his defensive 50. I don't think there was anything untoward. Advantage was paid, but Johnson took the mark. Then the kick into the middle of the ground to O'Driscoll. He took the mark and just copped a little bit of extra from Harley Reid. So he continued to tick the seconds down. O'Driscoll goes out wide to the southern side of the ground. Clark further wide to Bailey Banfield, who did a ton of work. He was in the back pocket moments ago. What a way to celebrate game 100 for him. Banfield kicks inside the forward 50. Frederick floats across and takes the mark. And he'll be able to run the remaining time off the clock in Derby 60. The players are exhausted from both sides.
He may run out of time here. Yeah, he's been told by someone, go back and kick it straight. Michael?
He's going to go the snap. Now he'll go the drop punt. The siren sounds. Michael Frederick to finish off the Dockers' day. It's wide, it misses everything, it won't matter. The Dockers break their duck in 2025. They win Derby 60 by 38 points, and the Eagles remain winless in the season so far. We are the Freo Dockers. Freo, way to go. Get them real hot, send them down below. Oh, Freo, give them the old home. We are the Freo Dockers. We're the rollers, we're the rockers. We're the mighty Freo Dockers. We're gonna roll them and we'll rock them. We're gonna send them to the bottom. And if they get up, we'll do it again. The Dockers stop at nothing, nothing. Freo, way to go. Hit them real hard, send them down below. Oh, Freo, give them the old home. We are the Freo Dockers. Freo, way to go. Hit them real hard, send them down below. Oh, Freo, give them the old home. We are the Freo Dockers.
Derby 60 belongs to the Dockers. A much-needed win for their coach and for their hopes for season 2025. They led by 15 points at quarter time, by 26 at the half, by 36 at three-quarter time. They won by 38. Their 27th win in derbies. The goal kickers for the Dockers, Jai Amos finished with 4, Josh Tracy with 3. On debut, Isaiah Dudley with a couple. And then singles to Clark, to Jackson, to Voss, O'Driscoll, Frederick and Johnson. While for the West Coast Eagles, 2 to Archer Reid, 2 to Jamie Cripps, singles to Liam Ryan, to Hunt, to Harley Reid, to Brockman, to Owies and to Jack Williams. 53,289 see Fremantle go 1 and 2. The Eagles remain 0 and 3. We'll take all the Derby presentations downstairs, including the announcement of the Glendenning Allen medalist for the first of the 2 derbies in 2025. But before we take that, let's get the quick thoughts, the initial thoughts, the hot takes, or maybe not, from our experts, Peter Bell and Sharad Wellingham.
Fremantle did what they had to do, Sharad, really. There's so much improvement in their game. And look, it's going to be a tougher year for West Coast. We all understand that, and we all understand what the immediate future is. It's just about getting a game style embedded for West Coast. McGovern will be a big talking point. But yeah, Fremantle obviously needed the win today, but heartened that there is a lot of scope for improvement, but a little bit frustrated as well watching them, the amount of easy scores they leave out there.
Yeah, exactly right. I agree. But the other side of that, do you look at it and go, they didn't take apart a really underperforming side? Like, it's almost, they got the win, they did what they had to do, but it's like, yeah, you're exactly right that there's so much improvement, but if they're playing a better standard team, they're not going to be able to get the win.
Yeah. They were going to be punished more on turnover, and you just they can't continue to make those errors against good teams. Yeah. They just won't get the results that they're after. I love the way they went about it. They're under pressure. They grounded out. They kept the effort and work rate, and all that was there. It's just that last piece, the skill execution, which has been that Achilles heel. But look, they'll be really pleased to get their first win for season 2025. Doesn't get any easier. They've got the Bulldogs are in good form next week. But a lot to improve on, but credit where credit is due today.
And I, from the other side of, from looking at it from the West Coast point of view, McGovern potentially being out for what you'd think maybe 4 or 5 weeks. He's done his groin.
Didn't look good.
Really bad.
Yeah, and he looked quite dejected when he came from the field. Just walked very slowly. But
and you spoke about that depth. It's not there, and so they're going to have to try a few things and see what they can muster up in the back line. But yeah, I like what you said as well about Freo. Does this get their season rolling and just get that momentum? One win can sometimes all it takes. Yeah. And then they go on and they do play well against the Doggies, and it can really get the season rolling.
Needed to win. Kicked over 100 points.
Let's head downstairs. Our on-ground MC for the presentations, Carl Langdon.
Well done to the Freo Dockers. Too good against the West Coast Eagles today. Thank you to the RAC for their long-time support. This was RAC Derby number 60, so we do thank the RAC for their long-term support of our local derby. First up, we are going to award the Glendenning Allen Medal to the best player on the ground. Your voters today were Lee Spur from 6PR, Will Schofield from Fox Footy, and Chris Robinson, the chairman from the West. I'll read the votes, and then Ross Glendelling will present the Glendenning Allen Medal. Lee Spur, 1 vote, Luke Jackson. 2 votes, Josh Tracy. 3 votes, Caleb Sarong. Will Schofield, 1 vote, Luke Jackson. 2 votes, Caleb Sarong. 3 votes, Andrew Brayshaw. And Chris Robinson, the chairman, 1 vote, Josh Tracy. 2 votes, Caleb Sarong. And 3 votes, Andrew Brayshaw. Your Glendenning Allen medalist with 7 votes, beating his teammate Andrew Brayshaw by 1 is Caleb Sarong.
So Caleb Sarong joins Paul Hazelby as the only 4-time winners of the Glendenning Allen medal. 35 disposals today, 4 inside 50s, 10 clearances. He'll head across to the microphone.
First of all, thanks to West Coast. Always know it's going to be a hard-fought battle. It's physical out there. We love these games, and I'm sure you guys do too, so good luck for the rest of the year. The boys, it's been a tough few weeks. We've stuck together. Love the performance we put out there today, a bit more of our footy. And fans, I know there was a few Freo fans out here. You guys are nice and loud, but thanks to everyone that came out. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well done, Caleb. Terrific game, mate. I'd now like to invite the president of the RAC, Alan Blaggage, to present the RAC Derby Trophy to the winning team. Let's get the skipper and the coach over here. Come on, Justin, over you come.
Alex Pearce strides across.
Alex Pearce and Justin Longmuir, put your hands together for him, everyone.
Justin Longmuir looked a lot happier after today than he did against Sydney last week. Relieves a bit of the pressure. Here's Alex Pearce.
First, thanks to all the Eagles boys. It was a really tough game throughout, as it always is. And I really wish you all the best for the rest of the year. Our boys, yeah, Caleb was right. We've done it tough the last couple of weeks, but we've stuck together, and I'm really proud of every one of you and all of our coaches and staff as well. Again, to all the Freo fans, everyone out here tonight, thank you very much. And just one final one. My mum, who's watching, she's in hospital at the moment in Tassie, so love you very much, Mum. Hope you get better soon.
Alex Pearce receives
Thank you, Alex.
the Derby medal.
Thank you, Justin.
Derby trophy.
Congratulations again to Freo. Commiserations, West Coast.
And that's where we'll leave the presentations downstairs. Fremantle winning Derby 60 by 38 points, 15-16, 106 to the Eagles, 10-8-68. Caleb Sarong taking home a fourth Glendenning Allen medal with 7 votes to his name, just pipping Andrew Brayshaw. So 2 of the voters gave Brayshaw best on ground. The other one, in Lee Spur, didn't give him a vote, which is interesting.
Sperry might have been on his case like I was, just around some of the disposal. I mean, it was a very, very good game, but, gee, he could have had a game for the ages, just with a little bit more of a clinical finish. But, you know, he runs so hard 2 ways. He lays tackles. How many tackles did he get today?
7.
Yeah, 7, as opposed to Sarong with 1. But, yeah, the inside 50s, the whole lot, just looking for more bang for buck, I suppose, with Andy's disposals. But, yeah, I'd have no problems with either he or indeed Josh Tracy winning the medal, to be perfectly honest.
It's always a good sign, I think, when you've got a number of players that you can pick from for best on ground.
Yeah,
I think it's a good sign for the team.
Yeah, so hopefully this gets them rolling, gets them going. They can go into the Bulldogs with a degree of confidence. There's elements of their game that is in good order, and then there's other bits that they really need to improve on, and they'll work really hard to do that. Fremantle, there's no problems with that. They'll get to work, but yeah, just that frustrating. The goals are hard to earn. They're hard work. They're labour intensive, I guess.
So what do you think Sarong's alluding to when he said that that's our style of footy? I think he said, or that's our type of footy that we want to play.
Probably a bit more around clearance. They've been smashed at clearance the last 2 weeks, and you talked about it, Sharad. That ability to get the ball and then lock it in there. West Coast really couldn't find a way through out of Fremantle's forward 50, and they get repeat entries, and eventually, if you get enough repeat entries, something's got to give.
Yep.
And Fremantle are able to score. So
you don't think that they're not listening to the outside noise about the game style and wanting to move it faster? They're sticking tough, and JL's got them all, drinking the Kool-Aid. They've got faith in this game style that he's wanting them to play.
They've got faith, but as you know, wins are the thing that help you maintain your faith. And if you can't get the wins, you can't get the nourishment, then you start questioning, is this the best style for us? And so that's important today. Personally, I think there's opportunities where they can go a little bit quicker, and I've said that, and I'll continue to say it.
Said it for a few years,
but Justin's style is, the slower ball movement, build it up. He'll say we'll go quick by handball, but I think there's opportunity where they can go quick by feet as well. But it's sometimes
running.
Take the grass that's available. We saw Luke Jackson doing it a few times, and one time where he didn't. Matty Johnson's another one. If the grass is there in front of you, and again, I know it's easy from up here, but just take it. Take 10 or 15 metres, make something happen, because we see when they do drive at the opposition, and use some of that forward handball, they look really, really dangerous, particularly when they're driving corridor, like they were at times, particularly early in that first quarter.
And I don't think it's a game style that you have to use at all times. Like, you compare it to, say, Gold Coast at the moment, and Hawthorn. It's all go, 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 make it up on the go. I think that there's, weight in being able to employ both game styles, but it's being able to recognise when you need to go fast and when you need to be able to put the ball in a bit slower so we can defend. And like you said, they don't want to have their defenders exposed for when they do go inside forward 50 and it comes back out. But there are times where they need to have confidence in their ability to go fast.
Yeah. And from a West Coast point of view, as we watch Bo Allen do his post-match workout as the carryover player, like what Archery did today. What he ended up with, a couple of goals, some really good contests. He's 202 centimetres. He's got to build a body, but he's going to be a big unit. He should be looking at Riley Thilthorpe.
Yeah.
Thinking after 2 or 3 or 4 years, that maybe that's the frame that I need to have as a player. Now, he's a massive man and he's imposing, but he's getting to good spots, and I like what he did today.
2 questions. You've had to carry it. How heavy is the Derby trophy?
Pretty heavy, particularly if you were never keen on your tricep work in the gym days, as I was. So
they've just handed it to the smallest player on the ground, which is why I brought it up. It's almost as big as Isaiah Dudley, who kicked a couple of goals on debut. You can see his family in the crowd when he kicked the second. There were tears in their eyes. Good. And I'm not exaggerating. If you could put 3 Derby trophies on top of each other, they would be as big as Isaiah Dudley. Who's
2.5.
Right, yeah, 55 centimetres tall. What's that work out to be? 165. There you go.
Yep, he's 168.
Right. Yeah.
Working his way into the rooms, which is where we'll find Bridget Lacey. Bridget!
Yes, there's loads of family and friends down here, as you'd expect, with the Derby, Bailey Banfield's whole family, and Isaiah Dudley, who is the story of the day. I have to say, it's wonderful to see his family down here so excited. So I know we'll see a few players in the middle getting coated with the sports drink this evening. A few first wins for some new faces. And in they go. Reid, Bolton and Dudley are all copping it in the middle there, as you expect. Here we go. There we have it. We should have Luke Jackson for a chat shortly.
And we'll head back downstairs as soon as we can. And also Mitch Turner's gone across to the Eagles rooms. We'll get a response as there as well. I don't mind this text. If you want to get in touch, as always, like to hear from you, 0437 774 774. Gents, can you confirm exactly how many same-name players we had today? 3 Reeds, 2 Ryans, a couple of Williams, and one of them was an emergency, but still a couple of Allens in Oscar, and of course Bo, who's working up and down the ground at the moment. It was a challenge today. Hopefully we mostly were able to give you the first name as well, but yeah, there was a lot going on. Despite all the skill errors, says Marcus, again, the gap between the Eagles and the Dockers in Derby wins grows ever closer and closer. Say positive, Freo fans. And Yvette, listening in rural WA, why in this day and age can't we kick straight? The goal by Fredericks was brilliant. Maybe they should be kicking more often goals from long distance.
I think Yvette was talking about the one that he nailed from 55 and not the one that ended the match that failed to register from 25 metres out. He'd relaxed probably by that stage. But, yeah, what was it? There's 15, 16 and a few more left out on the field as well for Freo. But at least they're getting those scores. That's, 31 scoring shots. That's a lot for this Fremantle team.
Yeah, it was, again,
31 from 65.
A game with some unbelievable skills and some incredible skill errors. It's remarkable how that happens. But for Fremantle, it was simply a case of they needed to get the 4 points, and they've done that. And I saw the coach down just before they awarded the Glendinning Allen medal and the trophy itself, and he looked a lot more relaxed than we've seen him in a number of weeks. The pressure that will go off Fremantle with this win would be immense, I would reckon, down in the Port.
The pressure goes off, but it shouldn't affect the way that you're reviewing and preparing. And I'm not suggesting it will with the players, but there is sometimes when you've been up against it, that reflex action afterwards where you breathe out and you just aren't razor sharp with your prep for the next for the next game, by all means enjoy the wins. You've got to win deep sometimes, and by that, it's hard work to win a game of AFL footy. So get out there, go out for a meal with your friends and family or your teammates or whatever it is. Enjoy that lovely feeling, and then after the day off, come in hard and review to get better, which I'm sure they will do. But like I said before, it's not going to get any easier. The Bulldogs are in good form.
I think it's little things like the recovery. It might be down the beach instead of everyone's into the club at 7 o'clock and you're doing your recovery and then we're going straight into a review. It's just you're doing the same stuff. You're ticking the boxes all throughout the week, but you're just making it a little bit more of an enjoyable, workplace, for want of a better word. But yeah, you're exactly right. They can't. That will be a breath. That'll be we've got the monkey off the back, as they say.
Yep.
And so they can't relax because doggies next week.
Yep.
It's going to be tough.
They might get some key players back. Sean Darcy was expected to only be another week, so he would make a difference for them. And Hayden Young, the expectation is...
I think Hayden Young's quite close. I'd be surprised if Darcy didn't have to go back and play some waffle football, first of all.
Yeah,
Hayden Young,
no pre-season.
Yeah, Hayden Young, I reckon that they would bring him straight back in once he's ready to go. So
because what's he out with, a calf?
He's had a hamstring. He's had a recurrent. So he's had 2 hamstrings over the pre-season, so not ideal. But I feel like, depending on how his reconditioning's going, that he might be one that comes straight back in, which would make someone unlucky, I suppose, if it is to be this week.
And O'Meara, who was out sick.
With illness, yeah. So James H got an opportunity today in the last quarter. Tough ask, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's head down into the Eagles' rooms. Mitch Turner. Mitch.
Clint, I've got Ryan Marrick with me. Ryan, not the result you wanted there. I guess fell away a little bit in the end. Competitive for the first half, but how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, obviously it's still pretty raw. We went into the game thinking, we're a real hot chance. We know they're a good team. And they obviously, had a tough start. So, still pretty raw. We wanted to go after some stuff we've been working on, but not to get the results, pretty disappointing. But we'll hopefully move on and review it and look on to next week. About as tough a game as you could ask for last week against the Lions. How did that affect the side? Certainly in the second half today, with what is a pretty warm day again out there. Yeah, it was obviously a tough game, tough conditions last week. It was pretty humid, but we focused real hard on the humidity throughout the week. So I don't think that's something we're going to say affected us. We focused really hard on preparing well for this game. So there's just some other little stuff around the contest. So it was obviously a tough game last week, but felt like we were ready this week. I'll throw you up to our experts in the box, Peter Bell and Sharad Wellingham alongside Clint Wilden.
Ryan, Sharad here, mate. Commiserations on the loss. Coming out of the defensive 50, how hard was it to find an option, and were you able to, I suppose, try a different avenue? Because it felt like you were coming up against a really well set up Freo backline and you were just bombing it out to them. Yeah, obviously we focused really a lot throughout the week on trying to find a short and get it composed out of the backline, but credit to them, they defended really well, and then we sort of went back to our way of going pretty skinny and just bombing it. So we wanted to open up the ground and try and switch on them and get a couple of composed to the corridor, but hopefully we can do that a bit better next week. Few moving pieces and moving of the magnets with a couple of the injuries. What was it like having Harley Reid and then Oscar Allen down there? Is that something we could see a little bit more of, specifically with Harley? Yeah, I'm not too sure. I know they're both pretty versatile. Harley's done a bit of backline stuff throughout his junior career, but obviously hurts when Gov goes down. I think we subbed Harry Edwards off, so we needed a bit more cavalry in the backline there, so we tried a few things, and hopefully we can look at doing some stuff in the next couple of weeks.
Ryan, have you had a chance to speak with Jeremy to this point?
I had a quick chat to him. He didn't give me much, just a little groin maybe, so not sure how bad it is. Obviously probably have to go have a little scan, but I don't think he's done one before, so he's not too sure. It looked really fatiguing, the game, and there were some, let's face it, some horrible turnovers by both sides. Did it feel that way while you're out there, that it was in chaos occasionally and both sides were under pressure because of the turnovers? Yeah, I reckon. I think that first and second half, that's how they got a lot of their goals throughout turnovers. So we had a focus of just trying to find it composed and slow the ball down and not always have to keep it in motion and go back at them. It was pretty turnover to turnover, and it's hard to defend when we turn it over in the middle of the ground. So felt like that was a bit of a key thing throughout the game.
Ryan, we appreciate your time. Best of luck for the rest of the season. Cheers for chatting with us.
I appreciate it, guys. Anytime. Thank you.
Ryan Marrick downstairs in the West Coast Eagles rooms. Let's head across to the Fremantle Dockers rooms. Bridget Lacey.
Thanks, Clint. Lucky enough to have the big ruckman Luke Jackson wander over for a chat. Luke, must be a big relief to get the first win of the season and against the arch rivals as well.
Yeah, it is, definitely.
West Coast, we knew they were going to come in firing, and it's always hard games, derbies, so we knew we were going to have to earn it, and I thought it was a good performance. We played Freo footy, and we're on the board, so it's good.
You were just in for a quick meeting with the coach. What was the message from Justin?
Yeah, just proud about how we went about the week. Obviously disappointing we've had 2 losses to start the season, but you wouldn't know it coming into the club, and we just got after it this week, and came out with the result.
35 hit-outs, 17 disposals and a goal for yourself. Obviously, being the number 1 ruckman the last couple of weeks, how have you found that?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I love the role. I feel really comfortable in the role, and I feel like I can play great footy there. So, I just want to keep putting my best foot forward, and hopefully we can just keep stacking wins and build momentum from this one.
Beautiful. I'll send you upstairs for some questions from our experts. Peter Bell, Sharad Wellingham and Clint Woodland's up there as well.
Well done, Dogger, and a couple of votes in the Glendenning Allen medal as well, but you weren't able to nail your teammate, Caleb Sarong, who takes home his 20th or whatever it is.
Hayes has already left the box next door.
In disgust, Paul Hazelby, he's out of here. How does your week differ when you know that you're going to be the ruckman as opposed to the forward ruck role? What does that look like during the week?
Yeah, good question, Billy. It doesn't really change too much for me. I mean, I've played a lot of footy in the ruck role, so if I'm called upon that role, I feel really comfortable and I know it inside out, to be honest. So I know I can play great footy there, but I'm also across the other role where I play more forward and then pinch it in the ruck. So it doesn't change too much for me. I just have a few focuses that allow me to go and execute my role, and I was able to do that tonight.
And you mentioned good to be playing Freo footy again. What exactly does that mean to you, Freo footy? When the game's on your terms and looking like Freo footy, what does it look like?
Yeah, I think it's just being hard in the contest, obviously, and also being resilient on the defensive end as well. We've got a really good back line, and we're just being relentless when we're playing our best footy. So there was a few times we let them back in the game, I think, but it was much better than the first 2 rounds. So if we can keep building off that, it'll be good.
And where were you, and what was the reaction when the little fella Isaiah Dudley put through 2 goals in the first quarter? It must have been a big boost for everybody.
Yeah, it was. I think I was on the interchange when he kicked it, and the crowd loved it, and I'm sure his family would have loved it as well. And he's a great kid, Duds, and we love having him at the club. We're really thankful to have him. So it's the start of a big career, I reckon.
Mate, what's the process for him? I mean, ignorance here, but where's his journey brought him to here?
Yeah, I'm not too sure really. I know that he's from SA. That's about it.
Okay.
No, I know he's good mates with Cozzy as well. So he's really close to him and probably pick parts of his game because he's very exciting. So he's just going to keep getting better. And hopefully, a long career ahead.
You did touch on it after Belly's question there, but the Freo footy, what have you got to kind of focus on to improve next week against the Bulldogs?
Yeah, we got a lot to improve, and the Bulldogs are in pretty good form at the moment. They got some star players on every line, so it's going to be another tough contest. But we just think if our contest is up and our defence is up, we can hold it against anyone. So they're probably the 2 key areas, and we'll look to train that hard again this week.
Does the skill execution ever come into it? Is that going to be a focus, or is that just a byproduct of a high pressure intensity game? Or is that something that you go, no, the skills aren't good enough at the moment, we've got to work on that?
Yeah, for sure. Skill execution, we've got a long way to go, I think. And that's probably shown in the first 2 rounds. We haven't been as good as the other teams that have beaten us. So, we got some great players as well in our team. And, we're just going to keep getting better as the season goes on. And, we'll just see how it goes.
And nice to see Jai Amos amongst the goals. 4 from him, 3 from Tracy. Pat Voss is, getting 5 or 6 shots a goal, but needs to convert a few more. That must be really encouraging, Luke.
Yeah, definitely. We're really tight-knit, the forwards at Freo. We get along really well off the field, and I reckon that helps on the field. We know how to play with each other. We know where to lead and stuff, and I think that's shown today. And yeah, Vossi's only going to keep getting better, and JT and Jai have played a lot of footy already together, so it's just going to keep growing.
And mate, were you absolutely bewildered as that when you took that mark in the goal square after just working through the middle that not one West Coast player went near? Your run from the middle, I set it up here, you ran past about 10 blokes and just waltzed into the goal square and took that great mark.
Yeah. No, I was happy no one checked me, to be honest, because I was pretty stuffed. But no, it was good. I was launched at the ball today, and I think that held me in good stead.
Might have had the old Harry Potter invisibility cloak.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Luke, Clint Wilden here. They've asked the serious questions. You talk about skill execution. I'm concerned for Patrick Voss because surely high-fiving is a skill that players should have. Because today he's poked two blokes in the eye doing that, Josh Tracy and Jordan Clark.
Yeah, right.
What's going on with that?
Well, I know he loves the celebration, Bossy, so he might need to calm down on it a bit, wait till he kicks a few more goals. But no, we'll see. I reckon he's due for a bag the next few weeks, so yeah, see how it goes.
Oh, just make sure when he does kick a bag that he hits your hand, not your face, because go and have a chat to Clark and Tracy. They'll tell you all about it. Congratulations on the win. We know how good it is to break the duck. Best of luck against the Bulldogs, and cheers for having a chat to us on the ABC.
Thanks, fellas. No worries. Cheers.
Good on you, Luke Jackson downstairs. That was one of those bizarre moments. He got not just one.
Yeah.
He got two blokes.
The second one wasn't a high five, but it was just a late arm in, and I reckon he got Clarkey in the eye as well. Just poked him right in the eye. Funny. And
he's
that's
intense on the celebrations, isn't he?
He is.
He's
You
up
want
and about.
to steer clear. And how funny is Luke Jackson? He would love his teammate, but have no idea where he's from. Oh, he's from SA. He's from Australia somewhere.
I just meant more so like I thought his journey to like he's a supplementary list.
Only got added, probably 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, like that's incredible.
It's a good story.
And my kind of question wasn't about like where's he from, like as in where's he lived.
Central District, by the way, if you're listening and wondering.
Yeah. So what's his journey been? Because he's
he's 22, I think, from memory, in about a month.
Mm-hmm.
He's Central Districts. He was on the Adelaide Crows NGA, so he's close to being drafted. In his 18th year.
Yep.
And then didn't get picked. And just worked on his game at Central Districts, scoring goals, applying pressure, and had an opportunity to come over and train with Freo.
And impressed enough
to nail a spot on the list. And suddenly, 3 or 4 weeks later, he's made his debut and kicked a couple of goals and was celebrating before one kick was 10 metres off his boot. It was amazing.
He knew where it was going. Rick from Margaret River, who sent us a very nice letter a couple of weeks ago. Thank you, Rick. Says, all right, gents, we in Purple are breathing a sigh of relief despite the obvious skill errors. Thanks very much for the call today. Gardening in the twilight. Good on you, Rick.
Beautiful down there. Imagine that.
Oh, good part of the world.
Yeah.
Gilby. Hi, guys. Enjoyed the Dockers win. This is on 0437 774 774. You've got about 8 minutes if you want to send us a text. My question, Luke Jackson in the ruck. He gets into really dominant positions.